Back for more, I see. You gave me so much at one time.
Yes, I do. I may have bigger for you.
Bigger. It is part 2.
Part 2. Welcome.
TWOFOLD Special. We're back here talking about the movies
That's right.
of the last decade.
That's right.
2010 to 2019. As if nothing happened between these two podcasts. As if it was
Nothing
only
happened.
mere minutes ago. And we recorded
Only mere
the
minutes.
last one.
Yes.
But that is not
For sure.
true. We have good old Phil back with us.
That's me.
That's Phil and brother Drake.
Yo.
And Mr. Tim, that is me. And as we said, we're speaking about the movies. We have last time stopped at the year 2013.
Yeah.
That's right.
The year of Pacific Rim and Gravity and lots of movies about the end of the world.
Yes.
But we're moving on swiftly to 2014
Yes.
because this was actually a special year. I think when I was making this list for the first 5 years, it was like, I was looking for movies. I was like, this was an interesting movie. But I remember from 2014, and it might have been that on your original podcast called Phil and Jake in Conversation, we did these end of the year movie conglomerates of podcasts that were huge.
We did.
They were long, and we talked about all the movies from that whole year. And I remember this was when we started to look at the movie and pick our favorite movies. And I remember I was being shocked that there were movies, so many good movies.
Okay. Well,
Makes sense.
2014 for Jake and I was like the worst, but that's okay. Has nothing to do
What?
with movies.
What? Why was 2014
It wasn't very good.
poo-poo?
Yeah.
Poo-poo caca? Bad year.
Poo-poo caca.
Well, I see you two
Anyway.
brothers, even though you had a poo-poo caca year, you have picked two movies together.
Oh, yes.
Phil and Jay combo.
Wow, it's almost the same except for one.
Almost. Except for one.
Almost. Well, there's something beautiful there I see in Phil's row that I'm very excited is there. I am a proud papa to have to do this.
That's great. I'm glad you think so.
I do. When I saw that, I was like,
Phil and
I
me
can't
will
wait to talk
tackle
about
the
it.
first one together. Let's
yes.
go.
All right.
Who wants
Let's
to
do it.
take? So we have two movies here for Phil and Jake. Who wants to tackle Whiplash?
Go for it.
So interesting about Whiplash is that Phil actually told me about this movie, I believe.
I did? I thought it was the opposite. Awesome.
Yeah, I
That's
remember you telling me,
interesting.
and I think you, Tim, as well, maybe.
I
Also.
remember
be.
seeing the
Could be.
videos of Jonah James. What am I talking about? J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons being very mean to someone at band practice, and
Exactly.
I thought,
I think that's what most
look,
people remember.
I might watch this, and I eventually did.
Yeah, because I think you were saying how, or at least I had the impression that maybe it was scarier.
Yeah.
Oh, just like a murderer?
Extreme. No. Like
Drum set
extreme
murderer.
thriller. You know those movies they like market that like it'll shake you up and it'll psychologically, twist
Okay,
your
yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna be it. That was
And
my
I
impression.
thought it was going to be something like, it was just kind of like torture. You know what I mean? Just this guy abusing,
like Saw, but with
Verbally.
drum sets.
taking the
yeah, but
drumstick
just with
and just
yelling.
beating him.
Yeah, stuff like that. So,
And I remember
but
by the
I
way,
took the plunge and I watched it anyway.
So what made it be so good to be
well,
on your
first I
list?
just want to say that remember our mutual friend Pishta, who was a guest on our old podcast.
Oh, yes.
I remember him writing somewhere on social media for some reason. I vividly remember he's like, "If you're a musician, don't watch Whiplash."
Haha.
I was like, "Okay, this is very serious."
I will watch it now because I'm curious now.
Whiplash was actually a very, very, very good movie. I liked it a lot because it's a combination of music. You have like sort of you think it's going to be about this character who's going to go study jazz, and you think it might be a tale of, it's tough, but do your best, it'll be okay. But then
Right.
you realize how psychotic this instructor that is a jazz band conductor. You realize how crazy he is at pushing, a student he thinks who like has it in him to be the best, but to his psychotic mind, he thinks that's like destroying everything in your life except for,
the work,
masochism and
The work.
music.
You got to feel the pain.
And it's
So
cool
what do you-
because then it explores that concept of, right, like how much is it worth sacrificing for something like that? What are the limits of that?
Yeah,
with
and they
art.
went extreme for
And
sure.
At what point does, art become not anymore? If it's not enjoyable, at what part is it valuable anymore, right? And
Do you
those
think
kinds of
that's the-
questions.
If it
That's
destroys
the
your, like
question
if
as
it
well?
destroys your life, what like,
okay, yeah.
For me, that was an
For
interpretation.
personal, yeah, like from the personal point of view, not like
Yeah.
value, but like to you as a human.
yeah, as
like
a
as
limited human.
Right, like
Yeah.
what's the point if you can't?
What do you think of the criticism that musicians have of this movie? I remember
That's
Adam
just
Neely
that's just
had a-
regular. Honestly, like this is the same as people having criticisms of historical films. People like
of any movie,
history experts,
doctors
people,
of like
people. Yes,
hospital
exactly.
movies.
I am always for making it more realistic, but there's always going to be something that people don't understand because they don't understand how you were making films, where you have to, like, sometimes you just do it for the sake of the drama, just so it's juicier. You know what I mean?
I mean, I totally agree, but I think why people were more vocal about this because there's not a lot of movies about music schools, and B, not a lot of movies about drummers, and I think most people this is the only thing they know, and it's like, and this happened with everything, Today I watched, I found a website which is like, hey, it was a YouTube video from like a camera from a pool side lifeguard, and it was like, hey, spot the kid drowning, and it was impossible to spot. The lifeguard spotted him and helped him, and it was just like a case of like,
Was there a kid drowning though?
yeah, there was a kid drowning, but you don't see it, like, because the problem is we're all used to from movies and TV shows. People when they're drowning, they're splashing around, they're making a lot of noise. But the opposite of someone's drowning, usually don't have a lot of air, they're quiet, they can't make any noise, they're just there drowning, and it's what the movies made us think. So obviously, it's everywhere. But
I don't
think
want to go into a tangent, but I experienced a little bit of that drowning.
That's
And it was so bad. And it was like, I don't know if you remember this, Jacob. This was at the in Austria when we had our friends over. Like we had a kind of retreat with our parents and our friends from Croatia. And we were in a public pool, and we were doing that thing where I was carrying one of my friends on my shoulders in the water. And we were doing that wrestling thing where you would kind of try to knock each other out. But the water was so, this was when I was 12. The water was so close to my face that I had to be on my tiptoes. And thankfully my dad was on the opposite side of this fight, right? He was holding another kid on his shoulders.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
And I was just
fights.
like, and it was feeling like I could feel me giving up in the water,
Wow.
and then my dad quickly like pushed us, stop playing around, and then just dragged me up and,
yeah. It's scary. I'll send you the link so you can see it, and there's a nice little
Sounds
description of how to spot someone drowning. That's the opposite of what you usually think.
Yeah, so I also liked how the film was sort of like shot, and it's
of course,
pacing.
the gold. Did you see all the edits
It's a good
that
thriller
they did?
movie, yeah.
Did you see how they composited the scene with the band practice, the famous band practice scene? Because when they initially made it, they made a short film. Do you remember? Have you seen the short film?
yes.
That's right. It was just that scene of the.
Yeah. And it was just like spec, you know what I mean? It's like, it's short film, but it's also meant to be like, hey, we can, fund a feature for this, right?
Yeah.
And they actually used shots from that short film in the feature film, but they had to grade it, and they had to also like do some After Effects work to composite like close-up so it matches with the lighting of the scene. So that was interesting.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I wanted to say one last thing. This is obviously a spoiler, but I think the movie has been out for some time.
Well,
if you want to
6
skip,
years.
go ahead. I really also like the ending, the finale scene.
Yes!
Because in watching it, you really think that this might be a tale of like, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's, just throwing the towel for your sanity. And then the guy goes 180 and sort of worships, in a sense, this conductor, and just to please him. I remember I watched
not to please him. It's more like to show him, to show
his back, it's like, I got some muscles here as well.
Kind of.
You're not the craziest one.
kind of, but I remember I
Yeah,
watched
yeah.
a little YouTube essay critique, which I thought was an interesting interpretation, where he said that at that moment when he sort of like his dad embraces him and he's like, you know, it's okay, let's go home. There's next year or whatever. And then the kid turns his back on his dad. And he was explaining how that was like a moment where the kid sort of finally, you know, like
Lost his goddamn mind.
where he like, you know, leaves the nest and becomes his own man, right?
Uh-huh.
But, you know, at the same time, he makes a very horrible decision to, and he put it this way, that at the end, he's like this combination, like you guys said, of like showing off, but also like in some bizarre way, trying to please this conductor who he knows is horrible to him.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of really, really bizarre,
Well,
terrible
it's the, you
relationship.
know, the sort of, was it Stockholm syndrome, you know? People get used to being abused. Okay.
So yeah, that's what.
That
and
was
I just liked
Whiplash.
and I liked how it was entertaining too. It wasn't just
True.
La
It
Chinoise.
was it's about drummers, but it's like super hype. It's like
It was
you know,
entertaining. Yeah, it was fun. Okay, go.
entertainment. Okay, so Philip, X days.
Oh no, you
of Future
Tim.
Pants.
You Tim. No. We're doing you
Maybe
now.
You should go next. Yeah.
Oh, I go next.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Budapest.
I love that movie. I think that's my favorite of his.
Still need to see.
Do you recommend it, Tim?
Dude, you need to watch. Okay, we'll watch it when you come.
I need to
over,
watch
because-
it. Yeah, let's do it.
that.
because I think it's the, and I love all his movies, right? And also, I keep saying his because I can't remember his name, which is funny. But
It's not Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann is the
And I
is
wrote
the other
Grand
guy.
Nudapest.
yeah, it's Nudapest. That is not. That's probably the dirty X-ray version.
the Grand Budapest.
The Grand Booty Pest.
Come on, what's his name?
Hotel
Everybody
Budapest.
who's listening knows his name, but we can't
And I love this
remember.
director, but I am really bad with names. So you have to forgive me. And I know it's not a really thrilling podcast when the host can't remember a single name and usually uses character names instead of actors' names.
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of the beast. And I keep on
Mark of the Beast.
vamping, but or whatever that
What's
word
his
is.
name, Jacob?
Jacob, you're googling. What's
Ooh,
happening?
Wes Anderson.
Wes
Anderson.
Anderson.
So Wes Anderson.
I like how you guys were waiting.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
wait,
So Wes
I was
Anderson.
thinking, surely you don't know. Surely you didn't forget the name of the director.
I do. You come on. You've been podcasting with me for years. I,
know,
remember
but
everything.
I thought you like have more interest in the director, so then like your mind goes to the director names.
I can't. It's just the funny thing is that I know if it was just sitting on a bench thinking about life, I would know his name.
Right, but now
In front of the mic
Yeah.
with you guys, it's like blank.
true.
Okay, so Wes Anderson,
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson has been making movies for a while, but I think at this point when he made the Grand Budapest Hotel was like a melding point of all his styles, and especially after he did Fantastic Mr. Fox, he took some of the visuals and some of the art style and some of the cinematography that he did for that stop motion movie, and he made it into real life, and it just becomes this larger than life kind of feel of the movie that is really unique to his. And I just love it, and also it's ties to sort
Isn't
of
it
we talked about.
5:4 aspect ratio?
Dude, that movie
Yeah.
has about 7 aspect ratios to tell you,
okay,
to be
interesting.
honest.
That's great.
And in
I wanna
the
see that.
opening scene, it changes aspect ratios like 3 times because it has three different times. But I think I talked about this before, but not on this podcast. But I specifically love this movie of his the most is because one, it's based in, Budapest kind of thing, but it's
right, I
basically
remember.
remnants of the Austrian and Hungarian Empire was where I grew up most of the time. So the architecture, all the little bits of life and kind of like things, little items that my grandparents used to have is in that movie, combined with the music, which is absolutely gorgeous, and it uses all these instruments that I grew up listening into folklore music around me all the time, like cymbals and all these instruments. So to me, it's very special, and it's absolutely
Wow.
hilarious, that movie.
Nice.
Okay,
So yeah, the Grand
so
Budapest
it's a
Hotel,
funny movie.
very funny movie.
I haven't seen it.
I mean, you guys are a big fan of what's his face? He played in The Pianist. You like him,
Pishta.
Brody?
Pishta, yeah, because you like him.
Brody?
because- Brody Pishta.
Adrian Brody.
You
Oh yeah,
like him-
Adrian Brody. You're right. I thought
You
you
like
were
him because
I
of
thought you
Godzilla,
were,
right? That's not Godzilla. King Kong, right?
King Kong, yes.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
how
you
I.
like.
That's how. I mean, honestly, like usually when it comes
King
to
Kong.
actors, I always kind of find them out from these
Yeah.
bigger movies.
So from
just how
there,
it
but
works.
he plays this amazing character, and it's just his language. He's so he just curses a lot, and in that context of that movie, it's just so dramatic. So you gotta watch that.
All right. Cool.
All right.
That's
So
Grand Budapest
Budapest.
Hotel.
So what about Future Pants, Phil? What can you tell us? Jake and Phil
All right.
both put Future
Jake and
Pants.
Phil both went to X-Men Days of Future Past. That's on our list.
Yep.
Do you want me to just mention?
Yeah, I did Whiplash.
What is this special? Why does this?
All right,
hold a
it's special
place?
because Jake and I
Love
have been
X-Men.
fans of X-Men 1 and 2. I happen
Lick the
to
poo-poo.
like okay, and we
Sorry,
happen
sorry.
to okay, so we happen to be fans of X-Men 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Thought it was a very good adaptation of doing a style within the 2000s that was appropriate and trying to make X-Men feel like it's not, it's not MCU stuff. It's not,
You're being
stylized.
you're being
it's not hyper-
apologetic. That's not what you liked it when it came out.
No, but
You just
I'm-
like
in
Halle Berry's
retrospect-
ass. That's what.
No, Halle Berry was the worst part of these movies, by
She
the way.
was. No, but I'm thinking like from your perspective when it came out, because you're now talking about MCU, but when it came out, there was no MCU.
There was
You know
no
what I'm
MCU,
saying?
no. But it was like,
why,
yeah,
why
but
were you
it-
drawn to it when it came out? Like, why did you love it so much?
Because
when you
it
were
had
what, 12 or something?
That's a good question.
I think
Dude,
I
don't
my
even
answer
know.
would be that it was an exciting adventure, like comic book, like it was like when we talked about before many times of like you have these
Yeah.
characters, right? That were
Mhm.
colorful and poppy and stuff from the comics that you heard of and knew about, but then the movie was sort of like a more serious, realistic tone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like.
Sort
It,
of
it blended in to make
you know.
it feel like they could exist in real life, but it not.
but with also
not
the
as much as, like,
extravagant,
Batman Begins.
Yeah.
aspect, like the mutants and the superpowers.
Which one was the
and
Future Pants though? I
And
can't.
I'm sorry, like the story for X2 is great. Like X2 is still the best X-Men movie in my opinion, and the music and the way it was shot, it's so lively, it's so kinetic. So when X-Men Days of Future Past came out, this is where the connection happens. I listened to the score before the movie, and I don't know if you know this, but the X-Men main theme changed in every single film, 1, 2, and 3. They were all different. I was disappointed in how X-Men 3 sounded, and that was done by John Powell, the composer. And then X-Men Origins, no, what was it called? Not Wolverine. X-Men First Class came out, and
that was a good one. I like that one.
That was good. That was good, and it was a different theme because it
That
wasn't
one's very
the same.
serious, I think.
I listened to the score of X-Men Days of Future Past before the movie came out, and it was back to form. John Ottman came back with the X2 theme, and it was beyond my wildest dreams, and that was one of the most, like, listening to the score and not even knowing it was going to be that theme and hearing it again, I was just like goosebumps. It was like one of the most exciting parts of 2014 for me, just listening, going, oh, it's, the X-Men theme is back. And I just personally for me, that was something. And so the movie
I like
came
that a
out
lot too,
and
because I love the X2 theme, one of the best themes ever.
yeah. Bum, ba-rum, 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 bum, bum, bum. And the movie came out and it was a pretty good movie. Like it didn't drag. It didn't feel like it was,
Which one was this one? Was it
piled
the
on.
Sentinels, the 80s one?
Back in time to the 70s.
Wait.
Do you don't remember? With the Sentinels, with
Sentinels one. That one. Ugh. With
Bad.
Wolverine.
It was,
Wolverine traveling back in time.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was great.
I love the movie. It's such a good film. I think it's like I would look at it.
What? Sell me on the movie. Why is it
Okay.
good?
Well, first of all,
What's
the premise is you have to like the X-Men sort of
Okay.
universe.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I
out.
think you're right, so I can't sell it to you.
yeah. But the other thing is that it's a really fun time travel episode where it's the future and it's destroyed by the Sentinels, and they figure out a way to go back in time to stop that. And I feel like that's already, and especially if you get Wolverine, who's a perfect like fish out of water character, and also like you get to see Wolverine again. He hasn't been around since the Wolverine. Oh yeah, that was last year, but
That was a good one. With Stephen Merchant.
no, that's Logan. That's Logan.
Oh, Logan.
The
Logan.
Wolverine is
Logan
Reasons
Logan.
Japan.
All right, rate your X-Men movies from
Anyway, I could
from the
keep
best
going
to the
on.
worst.
Yeah, I want to do that.
All right, let's
Okay.
do it.
Let's pull it up. Wait.
Jake, you want to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
I'll start
so-
first because
okay,
I
wait,
have
wait.
two that I like, and then the rest that can go to the trash.
Okay.
Number 1, First Class. Number 2, Logan, and then everything else can be scrapped.
So wait, first
Okay.
class is better
That's
than
my
Logan.
list.
Interesting.
I think
That's interesting.
I love Logan, and I think it's a great movie for what it is. but it's not an X-Men movie.
Yeah,
you know?
I would agree with that.
It's a great movie, and I think it's better than First Class. But if you're ranking X-Men movies, to me, just First Class just felt really serious and felt like a proper movie.
I
And
would
the rest
say
is just like a bunch of nuggets.
X2 is number one because it's dear to my heart because I grew up with it, but I also really like the film. And then I would say the next is Days of Future Past, I think would be number two. And then to be honest with you, the rest are like, there's some good ones. It's like, I remember X-Men First Class was fun and good. And that's pretty much
What's
it.
on the bottom of the pile? X3?
And then Logan, obviously, like I said, is alternate, which is great.
No, it's not X3. There's a worse one in the X3.
No, and then the
Wolverine?
bad ones are X3. The Wolverine wasn't that good. X-Men
There's
Apocalypse
two
was
Wolverine
bad.
movies.
And the worst of the worst was, I believe, X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
Which
That's
one's
the worst
that?
Of the worst. That's the first like Wolverine film.
Oh, the
so
one with the skelly bones.
Yes.
Yeah,
With
the skeleton,
with the bone
skeleton
claws.
Yeah.
bone claws.
Mine is X2. It's X-Men Days of Future Past, Logan, First Class, X-Men 1,
Oh, I forgot X-Men 1.
and then X-Men.
I totally forgot about it.
Okay, X-Men 1. Wait, we keep going. X-Men 1. Then it goes down to the Wolverine, Apocalypse, X3, X-Men Origins.
Oof, the Wolverine. You know what pisses me off about the X-Men? Every time I go see an X-Men, I'm like, I can't wait. Hopefully they'll...
Oh, and
they'll-
wait, there's another one, and it's called Dark Phoenix, which came out last year.
Oh,
and
did you guys see that?
No.
I watched it, and it was the most pathetic thing. I was so embarrassed. It was so
Really?
bad.
It's so bad.
If
Okay,
you
so-
want to see a movie and feel embarrassed, you can watch that.
Here's the thing, right? My favorite X-Men character is Emma Frost for obvious reasons. And there's not a good Emma Frost in
It's the
any of
crystals,
these
isn't
movies. Any of these movies. None.
Gonna agree.
Wait, why? But I don't know what the obvious reasons are. What are the reasons?
Well, first she's named after my wife.
Emma? Okay,
She's,
I know that one.
Oh, right.
she's got white hair.
Blonde hair.
blonde hair. And she's like, she has all the powers. She has psychic powers, telekinesis. She's got frost powers, and she's like super cool.
She has crystal skin.
Crystal
That's
skin, yeah.
what- I don't think she has frost powers. She's just
No, she doesn't have yeah. You're right. I think she just has a frosty appearance.
I don't want to keep going on X-Men, but I know these things because me and my friend Luke, we actually developed a X-Men 4 story way back in 2009. And it was really cool, and we were really proud of it. And of course, we never made it, but it was wonderful.
This is the third one now. It was Hobbit.
I know.
This is X-Men. What was the third one?
Pirates.
We're gonna find out more secrets. But before that,
Yes.
let's talk about a movie that me and Jake.
Also,
picked.
Emma Frost was one of our main characters in that movie.
Now I'm sad. Now I am sad. I want to see Emma Frost.
She was the leader of the X-Men in that one. Okay, go.
So me and Jake picked a movie.
Yes.
Which everyone knows I'm a Inarritu fan, and and I absolutely love that movie. That was my movie of the year, Birdman, of 2014. But I'm curious, Jacob.
Yes.
Why Birdman? Why Birdman? Tell us.
Birdman, my friend, was a good man. So you recommended this movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am very interested. It sounds very interesting. And what intrigued me was the premise, right? The premise is a sort of down and out, sort of washed up former film star
Yep.
who in the glory days played a superhero called Birdman. And it's
Played
sort
by
of, it's sort of
Michael
hard-
Keaton, who played Batman.
Correct. And sort of hearkening to the, like the idea of like someone playing Superman or something like that. And he's now, washed up and he's struggling to find, some new spotlight, fame in his life. His personal life is terrible and he's trying to do plays and things like that. And what I loved about the movie was that as you start watching it, it's a very standard kind of story. And then it starts to unravel and you start to realize how much this movie is playing with the sort of surreal, bizarre, and it explores this character and his adamancy to do something different with his life and change it and really struggling to be able to achieve that. Yeah, I really liked that. I liked the style. I liked the story. I really liked. I was totally like just
also the
glued
one
to
take
watching
thing,
the
right?
stream.
Yeah, it has a one take.
Right.
I mean, it's like a fake one take. There's definitely
Of course it
transition
is.
scenes, but it's not in real time. There's like days pass. The one thing that would add to, I agree with everything that Jacob said, is what I love about movies like Birdman is that there's an obvious theme in it. You know, like the whole washed up actor and what does that mean to them, and what is their processing and how they figure it out at the end. But to be honest, after watching this movie so many times, all of that washes away, and I just love the movie for what it is, as how it feels and what the characters are, and just experiencing those scenes. Because of that one shot, the camera keeps moving, and you're like a spectator, and just getting that feeling again of being in that universe is just what kind of brings you back to the movie, and that's I think that's
cool.
a pretty cool accomplishment.
I should probably watch it.
No, you should check it out.
Oh
man.
my
Definitely
goodness!
watch it,
Yeah,
Phil.
check it out. But you did watch another movie that there is a infamous episode on.
It's the best episode.
the saga
Yeah.
of Godzilla, and
Godzilla!
it is, and it's on the list. It's here.
It's on the list, my friend.
boy. Bum, 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 ba-da-lam. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, so on my list is 2014's Godzilla, directed by Gareth Edwards. I put it on the list because the kaiju Godzilla is near and dear to my heart. Been around since I was a kid. Never stopped being interested in the G-Man. And this is the funny thing, like, okay, we talked about X-Men story. I never thought of making I never developed anything for Godzilla, but I always want to make a big monster movie like Godzilla, right?
Okay.
So that's why my interest was like sliced in two, because I didn't want it to be good because I wanted to make one. Or like,
so it's still 2014 and this feeling still remains. I wonder when it would go
a little bit, yeah, because
Okay,
I
it's
have
fading.
like certain shot ideas that I want to, because like if they execute what I had in mind, I'm like, people saw it already, so why would I want to see it again? So, but at the same time, I wanted to see Godzilla, big and proud and really
this was
realistic,
Yeah. After whatever 1998, there was no Western Godzilla movie,
Exactly.
and that's that's 15 years, 16
Yep,
years of no
and
Godzilla.
honestly, like through time, I think I've warmed up to this film more. So
Hey, Tim, what do you think of the band Gojira?
Well, I listen to them. I think it's sometimes hard when you know what they're inspired by, in this case, Meshuggah. It's sometimes hard to listen to something that's inspired by something that doesn't add, or it's not too varied. Like, like I can't listen to genty music unless it's like super varied. Like, okay, like Animals as Leaders or maybe Deftones. They do have gent elements, but it's not just gent,
True.
So what if something too gent? I'm like, well, why don't I just listen to the Kings of gent? You know what I mean?
sure,
Anyway,
So I
these are
was just
things I don't
curious.
understand.
I was just curious.
No idea
You
what
probably
you
like
guys are
spoke
talking
like
about.
really weird language.
Gentlemen.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, and so for me, it has its setbacks, but I'm not going to talk about that. But I just really, for me, I put it on my list because it was like like a personally important time to see. Like I was happy to see Godzilla on the big screen.
Can you watch
like
it now and enjoy it?
Yeah, probably. I said like I think I warmed up to it after.
Okay.
after
To
a few
me,
years.
and I know it's not on my list because there's movies that are important to me, but Godzilla is very important to 2020, and it's a tradition every year we watch Godzilla, that movie, with my wife.
Wow.
It's just, I love it. I love
The
it because,
Mutos.
and I love it. Oh, you know what? Like, when you watch a movie and it's such a movie that you don't mind commercial breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like, okay, commercial break. I'm gonna go get a drink, get some chips. So don't feel interrupted. Like in Godzilla,
Right.
the human parts are like the commercial breaks. You're like, let's talk about something. Oh, it's fun. Oh, look at these people, and it's like, here comes Godzilla.
The biggest
Here it
crime.
comes,
The
here it
biggest crime
comes,
was definitely that they killed off.
Walter White. You see, there you go
I was
again.
gonna say. I was gonna say Walter White too. I forgot. Oh man, Bryan Cranston. It's too bad that was the biggest mistake. I think he was really strong at the beginning, and it's too bad.
It's okay, but
True.
it makes it sad. Makes it sad.
True. I mean,
All right. So we have one more movie that's from me.
Ah, yes. Timmy.
This movie means a lot to me, and I don't think, like the term when the stars align. I still don't understand how come this movie was so good. Like there's been so many movies that are based on toys.
Yeah.
And they're all shit.
Transformers, Battleship.
They're all just shit. they're just horrible. So obviously what you're expecting is a movie about Lego
to be
done by
horrible.
who did it? Universal or someone? Like just what or Warner Brothers? It's like this is gonna be garbage. This is gonna be the worst thing. And to those who don't know, I'm a huge Lego fan. I think
That's true.
Yeah.
You are.
95% of toys that I asked for since I was 5 until I was like 16 was just Lego. I didn't own anything except
Do you
books.
think if you had a lot more money to spend, you would spend them on Lego sets? Now?
Oh yeah, and it's like my daughter is slowly growing up, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting, I have to say.
My goodness. It's so
Exciting
true.
times. Exciting times. Legos will be
Do you know
back
what
on
you
the
do?
menu, boys.
Yeah.
You need to teach your daughter one thing about Legos. I remember I used to know this kid a long time ago. I probably told this story a million times. I'll keep it short. Then I went to his house and he actually was sorting his Lego bricks by category.
Oh yeah, that's what I did, my friend. I had boxes with little compartments, and it was sorted by color, by function.
Man.
And
I was
and then-
impressed beyond anything I could imagine. I was like, what?
Yep.
He has little boxes and he knows exactly what brick he can use.
Dude, I was
Because, me and
such-
Phil were barbarians. We had this
Yeah, we
giant
were
like
bag.
cavemen.
a box. Oh, in a
Just
bag.
a big giant box.
It was a huge
bag,
bag.
not a box.
Sacrilege. That's a sacrilege. No. I had specialty boxes. I actually made those out of cardboard, and those are my sorting boxes. And I was such a maniac that I wouldn't even buy. Well, like when my grandmother would ask, like, "Which Lego set do you want?" I knew the numbers of the Lego sets I wanted by heart because each Lego set has a number. And I also didn't pick by what it was. I looked at it in detail and see the parts I want. So I was like,
Oh yeah.
so that's how my Lego mania. And like kids would be upset when they get like, oh, but I already have this set. And I was like, fuck yeah, man! I got one Christmas. I got 4 of the same sets, and I was like, so
And you
excited.
couldn't be happier.
I was like, oh man, I can make like a mega truck now out of these.
oh yeah.
So
you're
so
right.
Lego Movie, I had no expectation. I was like, this is gonna be garbage, and I went to see it, and from a technical standpoint, how they made it look
Oh,
like
that's
stop
so
motion.
good.
Oh my goodness. Technical standpoint
From
is
storytelling,
fantastic.
technical. It was anything beyond that I've seen, and I was
Yeah.
big into Lego stop motion. That was incredible. It was like just my eyes were bleeding from how beautiful it looked. Secondly, story is interesting. It's about creativity. It's about the child spirit in you. It's about it's specific to Lego of what you build and how you build it.
Yeah.
That's insane. And then it was hilarious. It had Lego comedy, which was always present in the catalogs and the videos, in the games. Somebody who did this was a Lego fan, and somebody let them do it, and that's rare and insane. And Batman movie, Lego Batman was another caliber, and that was still pretty funny. But Lego movie is,
I think they did a bang up job.
Breakthrough.
It's just
yeah.
yeah. Can't wait to show that to my daughter.
I totally agree, though. Totally agree with you.
Yeah, me too. Because I was very, very surprised in a very good way.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that's insane. And then they fired them from Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I wonder what they're going to do next. I like their
Yeah, did you see their production company name? It's called Lord Miller.
Yes, Phil Lord.
Yeah, and the their logo is just like a mustache with like a coat of arms.
Oh,
Lord Miller
beautiful.
Productions.
That's Lord, quite Lord. That's a hilarious last name. All right, boys. This wraps up 2014.
We gotta speed this up a bit. I think
That's true. It's true, but it's okay.
We've been
We
taking
take our
sweet
time.
All right.
Well, 2016
Let's go.
looks pretty barren for you guys, so we'll
Yeah.
All right, 2015. What's this? So we see another documentary here.
Yes. So this is interesting.
Jacob,
I
tell
watched
us
this
about it.
documentary, I think this year.
Cool. What's it called?
It's called Amy. And Paola had told me many, many times about Amy Winehouse. And I was like, all the time I was thinking Amy Winehouse. I was like, is she like some pop singer? She's like someone, who got really famous. Like I was thinking of her as more of like a Katy Perry person.
Oh, so you knew nothing.
Yeah.
You didn't know her
Nothing.
songs.
I just knew of her, of people making fun of her, and that's it.
Making fun of her.
Yeah, she was like
what,
in lots
memes
of
and stuff.
Yeah, memes and parodies and stuff. That's all I knew about Amy Winehouse.
So anyway, I decided to watch this documentary called Amy, which came out in 2015 because I think she had died. I think recently.
I think it was a couple of
That
years. Couple of years at that point.
I believe
She was 27.
Yes, very young.
27
Tragically
club.
died. Yes, overdosed, I believe. And it was a very, very eye-opening documentary on who she was, what her background was, what her musical background was, and how much she loved making music and what kind of music she did. She was a jazz singer, and I just had no idea.
She was a very good singer.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And it was a whole new world to see, this person and exactly how she approached music and how much she loved doing it and sort of how genuine she was with the music, right? But then, of course, the other side of the documentary was kind of explaining her personal life and how she struggled with a lot of things and how it wasn't very clean and very messy. And she had a lot of interpersonal struggles. And it was fascinating. It was a fascinating documentary. I think it was pretty well made for a music documentary in the context of like someone like me not knowing much. Because you get a little bit of both sides. And of course, there's also sort of the explanation of what happened and at the end. So, yeah, that was Amy.
Okay. Well,
have you guys seen it or no?
No,
No.
I have it on the list. I think since it came out, sadly, I never got around it, but it was definitely looked interesting. I think.
Yeah, I think check
heard
it out.
a lot of
maybe.
Yeah.
I think you might be interested.
Cool. So Philip,
Yes.
The Death of Superman Lives.
This is a documentary. I should have written documentary, but it's a documentary called "The Death of Superman Lives: What Happened," and it was kickstarted years
a lot
before.
of big spiders.
Yes, it was kickstarted quite a while before they successfully did it. They made a documentary. I mean, it's a little bit. It's not super slick as a documentary, like you can see
super
some stuff.
ghetto.
Yeah, but it is very interesting because it tells the tale of Tim Burton's Superman Lives, the movie that was supposed to come out in 1998, I think. And it was going to star Nicolas Cage. And it shines a light on how the production, like the pre-production started happening, shows a lot of interesting discussions with the producer, John Peters. I think everyone finds him very amusing. He was one of the producers for Batman and Batman Returns, and he was attached to all that. So of course he goes into Superman. It's crazy. It's so funny, and I mean it shows how it ended as well. And to me that was really great because I knew about that movie, but I never got to see the complete story, as it were. So that's why it's on there.
I think it's really
Superman
important.
Lives.
I think it's really important to have movies that show failure as well. I think, America has this really anti-cynicism, always thinking of positive, always going forward kind of attitude towards things compared to a more complainy cynicism Europe thing. So you always like movies, documentaries about movies are always, the success stories is usually about a movie that was made and it was successful and people loved it. And then you go through all the details, how everything was great. But it's equally important to find out about failed projects. And I love watching something like about this because there was a lot of passion into it, and you can learn a lot, like why it went to hell. That's important too.
Yeah, and my favorite was at the very end of the documentary. There's Tim Burton, and he's going like, "You can tell me about this even when I'm an old man." I'll be like, "Oh, I'm still gonna make it. Still want to make it."
You still want to make Superman?
Yeah.
Tim Burton. So Jacob, I see a movie that we both picked. So I want you to tell the good folks listening about this movie.
So Tim and me picked the same movie, which is called The Big Short. What I loved about The Big Short It's like, opening a can of Coke.
I think there was about a year when I sat everyone down. I was like, you have to watch this movie.
Yeah,
I
because I remember
anyone who visited, I was like, you have to watch it.
someone had recommended it to me. I can't remember who. And the premise, again, just got me. I was like, oh, it's about the 2008 market crash.
Stock market crash.
Yeah, housing market
recession.
crash. And I went, and it's made into like a film, right? Because I knew a little bit about, the housing market crash, but come on, I didn't know really how it worked or what happened. And The Big Short is actually really, really fascinating because it's based on a true story about. It's really hard to explain. It's about.
Well, there's few perspectives, but basically it's not about the crashing. It's about a certain amount of people who were predicting, especially Christian Bale, who was predicting the crash, and then he made a deal with the banks to short it. It's basically a bet again for it to fail, so he can make a lot of money. And there were a lot of groups of people who found out about these deals and how they dealt with it. Some people wanted to also make money of it. There were some people who saw this like crazy and they tried to fight it, and
well, it was interesting because them betting against the market and them sort of like knowing that it's going to crash. The whole movie is kind of about them trying to make it work, and the banks and all these financial advisors and stuff pretty much laughing them off. And then you have sort of this whole like, it's like an uphill battle. And then you're always, as the viewer, that what's going to happen. But at the same time, you're just always putting yourselves in the shoes of them at that time and wondering, this must have been really, really crazy, to have this insight. But like the whole world is like, it does, blah, blah, blah. You can't, nothing's going to happen and stuff like that. So it's really fascinating. I think the style of the film is one of its biggest assets. How they told the story breaks the fourth wall. It's a really entertaining. I don't know. It's interesting because it's sort of half drama, half comedy.
Oh, it's like that's the best.
I should probably watch it. It's been on my Netflix.
You didn't watch it?
Like
wait. But did you guys watch it when you were at my house?
No, I watched it alone.
Okay, so I made everyone else except you guys watch it. Okay, but what I like about it is one thing: it actually teaches you about economy and about certain things indirectly. And secondly, what I like about it is I'm really against of conspiracy theories where people kind of portray like the evil corporations and the evil governments as, sort of like Palpatine, kind of there's like a figure behind everything who's
yes,
maliciously laughing, because that puts you in a perspective where you can't fix. Like, of course, there's no point of fighting these things because there's Palpatine with powers in the back, and he's like, I control everything and I make everyone suffer. But the truth is, like this movie shows you, it's just a bunch of idiots and a bunch of incompetent people who are stuck in these positions, who are too pompous and too, arrogant to do anything about it, and that's why it falls apart.
But not only that, but I think it also teaches you, or shows you rather, that a lot of these systems that become so complex over time based on either legislation or bank deals or how, because I mean, if you think about the financial sector in any sense, like stock markets or investing, honestly,
it's become science fiction at this point.
Complex. And it's also, like you said, science fiction, very abstract, very ethereal. It's all pretty much on paper, right? Like there's nothing tangible. I mean, it is tangible in terms of like money, but you don't, in that sense, it doesn't really function like that. So it's really complex, and these systems are very complex. And then you realize that over time they change, they evolve, and then sometimes it turns into a mess, like in this case, right? An entire
like the coronavirus.
Exactly. But the good point is that when you see it like that, that gives chance for motivated people to go, I want to change that. I want to fix it. There's no ultimate powered creature behind everything. It's just a bunch of people in a system that you can ultimately change if you're, motivated enough and willing to put the work, which is very hopeful.
But it's also interesting to me. Sorry, do you want to finish?
No, that's it. That's basically.
I just want to say what always fascinates me with stories like this is that you realize that how many sort of opportunities there are in finance that I think the majority of people don't take advantage of. And it always makes you think twice about like, maybe in the future I need to look into sort of prospects.
Yeah.
in terms of like at least low level, like
Yeah.
where can I invest? Where can I sort of put money that makes sense and sort of grows and stuff like that. But then again, at the end of the day, you also have to be ready to sort of take a more business mindset and realize that there's risk involved and how
Yes.
much are you willing to risk and how much are you willing
Right.
to invest and gamble that money, so to speak. And that's a whole different world. But it's interesting to see how much of that there is out there in the financial world. And it's crazy.
Crazy.
Craziness.
All right,
The
Phil.
Big Short.
Craziness.
Last one?
Let's
No,
go.
no. You got Mad Max. Mad Max.
Yeah,
Fury
Mad
Road.
Max. Mad Max is a glorious movie. I haven't seen it in a while because, unfortunately, this movie is not as exciting to see on the home little screen with tiny little speakers as it is to see it in Dolby Atmos sound. Because, holy shit, that movie was great.
You know what? Are you ready
What?
for admission?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
it's okay. You have to see it on really loud. There's no. It's a movie about cars. You can't see that quiet. It's just impossible.
Oh,
I remember walking. I was we. This was before we had a car. This was so long ago. We went to the outside of the city cinema where they have Dolby Atmos, and we're coming back on the bus. And I remember coming out of that cinema and just standing in the bus, and every time a car would whiz by, I would flinch just because of that movie. It was just you're so used to like being in danger the entire time. And also, how is it that you technically not remake, but reboot or whatever a movie you did 30, 40 years ago?
Yeah, same
And it's
director.
better than what you made then. Like that's insane. Like how that's
great.
that doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense. That never happens.
Yeah. From the director of Happy Feet,
Yeah, exactly.
Mad
So-
Max, and Babe, Pig in the City, comes Mad Max, Fury Road. And
Exactly.
I have to say, I watched this film and I loved it. It was great. I need to watch it again.
Yeah, it's so
And I only watched it on a small screen too. Wow.
just if you have a chance, maybe there's like a release or something, but it's just besides the the feeling of it, like how crazy it is and everything, but it's a really fun movie and it has so many memorable moments that you didn't see
Yeah.
before. Like there's just so much meme potential everywhere. Every 10 minutes there's something that happens is like I've never seen that in my entire life.
Really good.
Can't believe
really
that's there. Okay, so Mad Max Fury Road was great. We all know that.
Yeah,
but
what about Sicario,
What
Tim?
about Sicario? Come on, you can't be
I
Sicario.
get to watch it, but
Yeah, I tried to show it to Jake, but it was a bad time. It was like 11 o'clock, and we were both falling asleep.
I
And
think it was more than that. It was like one.
yeah, and it's a slow burner, so you have to get into it to get excited. But
You love the cinematography.
dude, come on, it's the Deacons is back, my friend, and Dennis Villeneuve. I can't pronounce his last name.
Yes.
A
I
match
don't
made
know
in
how to
heaven.
pronounce-
These two were born to do great things. Dude, I don't know. Like I talked about the Sicario so many times.
I think
it's hard to explain.
podcast or something. I remember.
Someday I'll see it.
It's just when I guys got you to watch Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the very same feeling. It's serious, but not pretentious serious. You know what I mean? And not that it makes fun of it. It's just it's some people know how to be cool. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if you're 12 or if you're 60 and you experience life. Just something can be really cool no matter what it is. And this movie's so damn cool. And it's a serious matter.
Okay.
It's just that everything, how it's shot and everyone acts and how it's filmed, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a really cool movie.
Just cool. It's a cool movie.
It's just, it's a good movie, man. Sicario.
Nice. Sicario. And the last one is the one that came out in December 2015.
Not last one, but there's still.
The last one is 2015.
There's still. There's still a movie for Jake that you've forgotten.
Oh,
For Jake.
Talk about your December movie.
Yes. So I have a movie called Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
which what's so funny?
what is it? I want to know.
It was funny. I was
about
talking to. After we did our Little Woman episode. I was talking to Emma, and I was like, what's with Jake and Saoirse and that director movie, the woman?
Oh,
I was like,
yes.
What
Is
is he
it
in these
her?
movies? No, it's not. But it's
Okay, but
Saoirse
Saoirse.
plays in it. But I was like, why is Jake obsessed with these women movies? And I'm like, that dude likes Parent Trap. But why am I surprised by any of this?
Exactly. This shouldn't be surprising. At
Why
this
am I
point.
surprised?
Parent Trap
by
is
it?
great though.
It's like
Yeah,
this,
Parent Trap, the remake, is one of my favorite movies. For those of you who do not know, one of my all-time favorite movies. I love it to death.
Yeah.
I love it. No joke.
Like,
It's
I'm,
such
not,
a good
I'm not
movie.
even surprised by this. I should.
Yeah. So Brooklyn, Paula had recommended to me, I think she hadn't seen it. I can't remember what the story was. But anyway, I saw the premise and the poster, and I was like, and it had Saoirse. And I was like, this
Lady
sounds like something very interesting. And so I think it was a very enjoyable film. And you guys haven't seen it, right?
No.
Nope.
Would you recommend?
I would recommend because of the, you know how you mentioned Birdman has something that you like, which is the tone and sort of how it feels rather than really about the story. I think Brooklyn is a good example of that, where the story isn't something groundbreaking or shattering or even that super interesting, but the tone and how you sort of go along the journey with this main character. And in short, the premise is that, if I remember, Saoirse's character is from Ireland, and she moves to New York, and this is somewhere around the...
Isn't this the story of Little Women? Saoirse moving to New York?
World War II-ish, maybe. I can't remember exactly. Early 1900s.
This is 1951.
Thank you so much. So post World War II. And, you know, sort of going to America for a better life and things like that. And she realizes it's a little more difficult, you know, than it sounds. And that's kind of the story. And then she meets someone in New York, very different background, right? Like she's Irish, he's like Italian background. And it's just about the relationship. And then she sort of goes back to Ireland for a time, and she kind of struggles to figure out what exactly she wants and, you know, where she belongs. And that's kind of that story. And it's about that, you know, mood of these worlds, and she finds herself in this place. So I'll recommend it for the tone.
That sounds interesting.
Cool.
I think I might give it a watch with Emma.
Yeah.
So that's Brooklyn.
Yeah, Phil. What's
Nice.
this?
And this is the last one. Okay, so December 2015 heralded a movie called Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. And the reason why it's on there is because, of course, Jake and I, well, maybe me more, Star Wars fan, love Star Wars. Original trilogy is great. We grew up on the prequels. Prequels are something I'm sentimental to. I can laugh along with you guys telling me how bad it is, and I'm not going to deny it. I still like it. I still like it a lot. And I fully admit they're not great films, but you know, there you go. And so to see something from 30 years ago, something that was in my childhood, and then something that was in other adult men who are like 40 years old, their childhood, to see a sequel come out from that, and that just became a huge American pop culture legend, you know, Star Wars. It's something, right? And I put it on here not because I like the movie, but because it was just like an event that I can look back and say, oh, Force Awakens, I remember that time. You know what I mean? I can remember us going to see it. I can remember me having those dreams about what the movie was going to be like before it came out. Because this is something you would have a lot of effort in, put a lot of effort and, carefulness to make the sequel to the last film, Return of the Jedi, because no one expected this to happen, and it was not in my mind at all. You know what I mean? Like
you thought this prequel was done, right?
7.
Like that's
it was over because they were George movies, right? George Lucas, he's done for all intents and purposes. We're done with Star Wars. There's not going to be any more. So this came out, and it hasn't gotten better.
Wait. The movie hasn't got better, or the movies after it haven't got better?
The movies after, sorry.
That is true. There was a Spock, and it was killed.
Yes. It was destroyed.
But it was just a very distinct time, you know, with the hype and the buzz and the fact that this...
Speaking of which, did you see the headlines?
That's it.
Sorry. Speaking of Palpatine, and speaking of Star Wars, did you see the headlines?
I heard! I did. Go, Tim. You can say it.
So it's explained. So we were all confused watching that movie. Why? How is Palpatine,
Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker. How is Palpatine alive? What is he doing on that planet? And what's with the machines? So this is a clone of Palpatine that somehow there was a machine set up that if Palpatine dies, the Force Ghost, the Sith Ghost, travels into space, and there's a clone made of Palpatine, and that sucks in the spirit back into him. Right? Am I understand?
Yeah, you're correct.
That's dumb as
Brilliant.
dicks. What is that?
Brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Anyway, that was 2015.
Yeah, it was 2015. Good year, 2015.
Oh, good year.
Good year, plenty of good movies. Let's talk about 2016, where there's a Purple Nurple, my friends.
Twofold crew.
The
Purple
Twofold
Nurple.
crew, Purple Nurple. So
Nurple.
in 2016, all three boys have picked a
Yes.
movie, and it warms my heart because this movie is close to my heart. Our friend, what's the director's name from?
Damien Chazelle.
Damien Chazelle returns. He is slighted by the Oscars.
Yes.
The award is taken out of his hands at the ceremony.
Oh, was that the one? Was
Yeah,
that the
that was
one
the
where it
one.
was like La La Land and they said, no, it's not La La Land.
Yep,
Oh,
they made a
that's
mistake.
right. And they were like the other.
They were
film.
already, already thanking
was
for
it?
about 2 minutes. It was.
Yeah, what was it? Cats?
No.
No, it was that movie Scared. It's called like Scared or something like that.
What? No.
Us?
Yeah.
No. What? That wouldn't win the Oscar.
Get
Best
Out?
Picture. No, it was about the black gay man. What was it called?
Yes, Purple.
Oh, Moonlight.
Moonlight. That's the one. Yeah. Scared.
Names. But you know what I'm talking about? The other movie, Get Out. I mixed it
Get
up.
out. Scared. That's the best
Get outta here.
horror movie title ever.
Scared. It's a good one. Scared.
In theaters now. Scared. So who wants to talk about La La Land?
Well, I can say an interesting story you might guys find a little bit juicy is that La La Land has a very strange place in my history because it's both a really, really great film, but it's also a very painful movie. I haven't seen it since. Because
You're like my wife. She can't watch it anymore.
No, I haven't watched it since, my friend, and
She
I don't think
can't.
I
Wow.
can handle it. Because
And I always bring it up. I'm all like, "Are you ready?" No, I don't think I'm ready.
that's
to
the
watch
same
it.
thing. Yeah, with Paula, she's like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "No, I can't."
Really?
Yeah, because what happened was during this time, me and Paula were not dating, but we were like in this weird phase of like friends, and we like liked each other, but it wasn't the weird thing.
Yeah, on and off kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, but we weren't official at all. It was just like this strange vibe, but we knew something
Limbo.
was going on. Yeah, limbo. And the weirdest thing is, and we still don't know to this day, why me, her, and Phil all went together to watch La La Land.
That was
Wait,
something.
3 people?
Yeah.
Three
Yeah.
people,
The date of 3. Yeah.
and 2 of them are like on this non-date, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like the third wheel.
And the film is exactly about like this whole thing in a way, right? Because
Yeah. Relationship
spoilers.
over other things.
Yeah, and it's like it was super, sad, and it was weird because like while I was watching the movie, like I saw these parallels and stuff, and it didn't hit me so much in the theater per se, but then later it was like like we talked about it and it came up, and it was the whole weird vibe, and it was then you start dwelling on, you're thinking about it, makes you really sad.
Affects you really strong.
Yeah, and I mean you guys got affected, I think, by it too, even though you weren't in the same circumstance, but
Yeah.
it's a
Well, the thing is, like with us, is like it affected me on different,
different way.
No, it affected me on that way as well, but not as strong. I appreciate it for what the story was. It wasn't as heartbreaking to me, literally, as it was.
Same.
I enjoyed it for the story's sake. Like that was that was strong in a kind of sense. But I also enjoyed it on the other technical and the visuals and, and the music. Like everything was, to me, was like, what a great movie, and just
Totally.
the chemistry between Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling is just insane. They're like those two were meant together, you know what I mean. But I think what to Emma was just that she's gonna hate me for saying this, but she's a really big romantic, and she just can't get over the fact that they were so, because the chemistry is so strong, and you can clearly see, and that they chose they chose, instead of staying together and building a relationship, they chose their careers, and it's something she could that's opposite of what she would choose. So it's like she just couldn't bear it, like, and especially there's a scene at the end that shows you what could have been, and it's too heartbreaking.
Right.
And she loves the soundtrack. We sing the song together. I play it on the guitar, and we listen to the soundtrack, but it's just the movie's just not.
The soundtrack
she's
was
not
also very hard to like hear afterwards. I think it's okay
City
now.
of Stars.
Great music though. I really like all the songs.
Mm.
And the dance
I'm gonna
sequences.
I'm gonna mention what I think about the movie. I don't. It's interesting. I just put this on because this was the one movie that I can remember in 2016 that really just kind of. It was film. I think it was shot in film. You know, it had that great feel. It was a musical, which was fun. It had a story that was engaging. I was able to watch it, and it was a nice little movie. You know. Other than that, like. Yeah, that's kind of it, really. I think I have the least amount of engagement on this film.
It was a good movie.
What do you want? What do you want from me? It's good.
Joking.
What do you want from me? And you know, that's the only thing on my list.
Yeah, that's the only.
That's
movie.
the only thing on my list because I
Nothing-
can't think of anything else.
Nothing that came out. Let me give you some suggestions. So let's have a look at
Try.
all the movies from 2016 that came out.
Okay, go for it.
All right, The Witch, Hail Caesar, Deadpool, Cloverfield Lane, Captain America, Green Room, Florence Foster Jennings, The Nice Guys, The Neon Demon, Star Trek Beyond,
guess-
Captain Fantastic, Lights Out, La La Land, Eat, Doctor Strange, Arrival. I don't even have it on my list. Nocturnal Animals, Manchester by the Sea, The Big Sick, The Lego Batman Movie, Logan, Kong Skull Island, Colossus.
Logan
Guardians
was
of the Galaxy
you're going
2.
into 2017 now, Tim.
Oh shit! Okay, sorry. The Big Sick was the last one. Never mind. Manchester by the Sea. That was a good movie, man. I should put that on my list.
I guess. Now that you mention it, there was. What was the first one you mentioned?
Damn, man, this was really hard for me to choose not to put Arrival in here, so I have to give that a special notion. That movie, that one killed Emma as well.
Yeah, I should see it.
That one Emma can't watch again.
Everyone tells me to see this, so I should see
Really?
it.
So it's also effective.
Oh, I watched 10 Cloverfield Lane. I guess that was interesting.
That was with
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Except the last 10 minutes, that just ruins the movie.
That's funny because, like, for me, I thought the last 10 minutes were all right.
It's okay, but
I
it's
thought Arrival was supposed to be
Depends
some
on what your
cheesy
tastes
stuff.
are.
what, dude?
No, man.
It's Denis.
Is it Denis Villeneuve?
Villeneuve.
I don't
Once
know.
again.
Don't quote me on this. I don't know how to pronounce his last name either.
Denis. Wait, I've heard it. Denis.
Villeneuve?
Man,
Villeneuve?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Denis himself.
Viennois?
Dude, you got to watch Arrival.
I
It's
will,
a sci-fi that's really based in reality, and there's a personal story to it that's attached. And it again, the mood, is nuts. The mood will set you a few days of that, hyper reality sense where you're like, you're really hyper of your emotions and everything around you just puts you in that mood. But I don't even know it on my list. I have other movies that I love. It's crazy. How
All
many
right,
good
do it.
movies
Let's
are
hear
coming out.
it. Let's hear about your good movies.
Dude, okay, La La Land we talked about. So, The Witch, the
The Beach.
Witch. My man,
Robert Eggers.
Robert Eggers. We talked about, we'll talk about it more, but this movie was just, there's a movie that is great, but there's a movie that is great and it's just on your wavelength. There's something about what I would want to be as a creator, what I would strive. That's like the impossible top of the mountain where I would want to be. And it's the mountain that I like. He's there. It's just, it hits you right. And like, I was fully enjoying this uncomfortable, dreadful movie experience, 100%. But then also I was appreciating all the technical levels that went to it, how it looks, the way they chose the film, the way they chose the framing, the way they cast it, the way they all speak in this weird New England accent that was prominent there. It's just everything about it works towards putting you in a great mood. And also has a wicked
Why
sense of
is
humor.
there a witch?
Why is there a witch? Well, the witches exist in forest, man. You got to watch out for the goddamn wishes. They'll steal your babies and crush them into pulp. And
Okay, I'll be careful.
Do you like The Shining?
I mean, I watched it once. It was okay.
Yeah, all right, fine.
I get it. I understood when I watched The Shining. I watched it on a big screen.
How did it not make you like feel uncomfortable?
Because we watched it in a group. It was like 12 people.
Oh, and there was like Luke probably like, sorry, Luke. I just imagine Luke like ruined in a movie like this.
What movie you guys talking
Probably. Yeah.
The Witch. No, we're talking about The Shining, but The Witch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie. It's not a horror movie at
Witch.
all. It's no, it's not. None of his movies are horror movies.
Tim's lying. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys, BMW has a new logo.
Who else?
What?
What? We're talking
BMW.
about who?
Anyway, keep going. I'm listening.
Wow, you're so bored. You're looking at BMW.
No. I just it popped up.
Just popped
It's like,
up on
it's like
your
a
brain.
pop-up on the browser. Exiting.
The new logo.
Okay.
Because you guys are talking about some movie.
All
I
right,
don't
The
know what
Witch.
you're talking
Yes,
about.
The Witch.
The Witch.
Atmospheric, spooky.
No, it's not spooky. It's uncomfortable. It's the way it's built. Every scene is longer than it needs to be when it brings up this tension and this
Question,
uncomfortableness.
Tim.
What?
Is this similar to that movie that came out recently called Hereditary? Or am I
Well,
totally
yes,
off?
yes, but Hereditary is a little bit more shocky as you're.
Oh, I hate the
watching it.
shockies.
No, not like
You know, like the
I
talkies,
scare you.
the shockies.
the shockies.
I hate
Hereditary is like, what am I watching? As in, like, what is happening? I am not okay with this. As in, this is strange. But in The Witch, it's more like you're watching it, and it just the way it's made makes you feel really uncomfortable and really uneasy about everything. It's not like spooky and scary, and it's not like, oh, I'm gonna have nightmares. It's just
like the uneasiness, right?
yes. Suspenseful and also uncomfortable. And what's wrong with these people? and it's just, I don't know. And it fits my kind of vibe so well. It's hard to explain.
No,
We have to watch it together. You know, it's again,
man.
Jacob. No, but it's not. It's not like something you're gonna have nightmares from or something like that.
Are you sure?
I think it's a good movie to. Yeah, there's nothing about there's nothing. There's nothing that's like visually like, I don't know, like scary about that movie at all. There's not like a monster or anything like that. You know.
No, I know. But those things. Okay, well, we'll see once we
Never
watch
mind.
it.
Okay, The Witch.
The Beach.
Because that's how it's
the
how it's
marketing
spelled.
did it. I
There's
think
two
Leonardo
V's.
da
Yeah.
Vinci.
The marketing kind of ruined that movie because a lot of teenagers went to see it because they were thinking
That's
it's
what I
like
heard
a
too, yeah.
standard horror
Well,
movie.
yeah, because
and
did you
then
see
you're
the poster? It's garbage. The poster's so
Yeah.
stupid. There's like some hot lady silhouette and in the
no, it's
like
a witch
like
silhouette, I think, isn't it?
Okay, but she looks like is she actually a young woman?
Let me look at the poster because I think remembering seeing the poster, I was like, this doesn't happen in the movie. What is this?
I'm telling you.
Let's see the poster for The Witch. Da Witch.
Da Witch.
Yes, this has nothing to do with the movie.
Told you. It's garbage.
There's
The one with the goat. That one's cool.
yes. Well, that's Philip.
Yeah, your favorite. That's your favorite.
That's Philip.
Oh, the goat?
Yes, that's Black Philip, and
Perfect.
he is amazing.
I want to see
Black Philip.
Witch poster.
Okay, so that's The Witch.
That's The Witch. Yes. Let's not hinder.
Jake, what is this you have here?
Oh, I'm so happy you put Captain Fantastic. When did you watch that?
Yes. We watched it.
What's Captain Fantastic?
I'll explain now. We watched
It's about
it.
Aragorn and his children.
Yes, we watched it. I think last.
Oh, that's
year.
right. I remember.
And it's a movie I wanted to watch for a very long time. I had heard this movie talked about on Mark Kermode's 5 Live show years ago, and he kept praising and talking about it. And I really like Viggo Mortensen as an individual and as an actor. I find him very interesting.
Free spirit.
Yes, and I like his style a lot. In his personal life, and Captain Fantastic is a very very intriguing film, and the premise is it's about this father of many children who is trying to raise them outside of sort of modern society. So they're living out in the forest, and he's teaching them a lot of he's teaching them a totally,
You're putting it mildly. This is a really out there kind of growing up. It's
Yes,
a
please help me out.
It's like anti-establishment kind of
Correct.
What's that word? Upbringing of his children. They're learning how to hunt. They have to exercise. They're being schooled by him in his treehouse, regimented.
Basically, like, I think without spoiling anything, I think that you realize that this father, on one hand, he's doing what it seems like it's for like what he thinks is the best, but you also realize throughout the movie that really what he's doing is he's taking away so much from his children, you know, and he's putting them in, it's almost like a dictatorship in some sense. Not in the sense that he's
I don't think it's as sinister as that. I think it's
No.
it's just the effect is, you know, that they did it's not what he wanted in the end. What, you know, what he I guess it's not the intended effect. He even realized that in the end.
I'm just saying that
I didn't see this film.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a really, really interesting movie because it explores a very original premise, and the characters are very, you know, complex, and there's a lot of things going on. And honestly, when I was watching the film, like there are things that, like, I like it because it's what I like most about it is that it's a movie that doesn't make any statements in its narrative, but it only presents these characters and what their choices are. And it makes you sort of argue with these characters on your own. And you go, like, man, like, that's, you know, I totally don't agree with this, or this is terrible, or, okay, that seems like it makes sense. You know, it's a movie that makes you think about the aspects.
And Captain Fantastic better make you think.
Yeah.
That was a joke that no one will understand.
That's my favorite thing about the movie. And then, of course, on top of that, you have sort of the story itself and the just a lot of interesting scenes.
Nice.
And
it's a great
Captain
movie.
Fantastic.
It's also an emotional movie because I think you're really struggling, you know, to understand all this stuff, and you're seeing all this happen to those characters.
Also, to add, so he's a father, and they have a obviously mother, the wife, but she dies,
right?
And then the kind of movie follows through them dealing with that situation.
Right, correct. So it's like the aftermath of his wife dying. That's the initial opening of the film, and then it's sort of up to the dad to decide what to do moving forward.
Yeah, with the funeral and what to do with the kids and everything. Yeah,
it's interesting because it's like a wacky also story. It reminds me a little bit of do you guys remember that movie? It was called Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
that's a great movie. I love that movie.
I don't know if I'm thinking this is a totally different director, but it feels like in the same vein, sort of.
Might be the same director.
Maybe.
Actually.
But I think that Little Miss Sunshine, if I remember, was nope. Anyway, a similar style. But I think a long time ago, when we watched that movie, I think that was much more like sort of upbeat. I mean, to a degree. This I think is a weird blend of like Little Miss Sunshine wackiness, but the undertone is a lot more serious.
Much more serious. Yeah.
It's not just like fun wackiness. It really makes you kind of a little bit uneasy in some sense.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Captain
but definitely check it out. Phil, maybe you should check it out.
There's a lot of movies you check out, Philip, from this list.
I know
you should work through the list and give us a report.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's good movies. So we have one more movie we'll finish up, and that's a movie from my list. That is The Green Room. This was the year when I discovered A24, the studio. And I think The Witch was like, I saw The Witch and I was like, who funded this movie?
Who is that?
What's going on? Who? And I was like, A24. And I started looking at it like, what is going on? I was just like, I'm just going to watch all these movies. And it was like, I landed on Green Room. It's just, so give me the premise. I'll give you the premise. It's a punk rock band, contemporary punk rock band, touring in a van, having troubles getting gigs. They land a gig from a friend, which turns out is a farm outside of the city, which is run by skinheads.
Patrick Stewart.
And skinheads. Yeah, Patrick Stewart as the lead skinhead. And they, as they're waiting in the green room, accidentally witness a murder of some skinheads kill some other dude. And now it is a thrilling slasher horror movie of them trying to escape this damn farm with a bunch of skinheads chasing them and trying to kill them. And there's a lot of unique aspects to it, the way it portrays violence and how it builds up and tension and kind of relief as far as storytelling, which is super refreshing. And also, it's really cool because it's like punk rock and stuff. So it's definitely a favorite of mine. I was thrilled by this movie. I was excited.
So, would you say that this is like a pure thriller, or is it also a little more dark?
It's very dark.
Okay.
A thriller is the pacing of it. It's the not classic horror movie kind of stuff. I think it's a little bit more exciting, but it's pretty gruesome as far as the violence. But also, it feels fresh to all the slasher movies that I've all watched in my. Like it's something when you've seen like 1,000 movies in a genre, and then one comes and it's like it feels fresh. That's exciting. I would say.
Cool.
Nice.
It's got Anton Yelchin, the poor
Yes,
late
true. Yeah,
Anton Yelchin.
that's true.
That's
Yeah.
really. That
It was
sucks.
one of his last movies, right?
Yep. One of his last movies. All right, that's a bummer note to end 2016, but it is
Yeah.
sad. It is sad. So let's move on to 2017. We're closing
2017.
only 3 years ago.
2017. We're so close to the present. Currently,
To
Yes.
the Talk about
Yes.
Lady Bird, Jacob.
I will talk about Lady Bird.
Lady Bird.
First year, and there are no mutual movies at all.
Interesting.
2017, everyone has their pick. No mutuality.
So listen,
Mutuality.
Lady Bird is a great film. I think that's all that can be said. And I would highly recommend it. And we talked about it, I think, on our recent episode of Little Women.
But I'm not
Tim,
sure.
I know I have to. Tim, I
What?
know I have to watch a lot of good movies, but
Yes.
listen,
What? Why don't you watch it?
this is a movie that I watched first, and I told Jacob to watch. So
Oh, Jacob.
Take that. What did you want to
Your
say?
love.
Tim, you were
What?
like, but I still want to. What do you
I still want to watch. I want to know your person. I remember vaguely. It's like a coming of age story, and and it's a good movie. I watched it. It's great. But I'm just wondering how come did you connect it so strongly with it? Is it a personal level or just a movie level that you connected with it?
Both, I think. I think what was also interesting was the first time I went to watch the film was I went alone, which was very interesting. I went alone to this local, now closed, sad, art house type cinema that shows more of these movies that are not blockbusters. And I was like, you know what? I'll just go and watch it on my own. And it was one of those sort of nice experiences where you have no clue what you're getting into. You kind of have a vague idea of what maybe the movie's about. But you just walk in, you sit, you're just sort of chilling, and you're like, this is an interesting experience. I hadn't seen a movie alone probably ever. I really don't remember ever watching a movie alone. And you're just sitting there, and you're like, okay, let's see, what is this? What am I getting into? And then the movie, was rolling, and then you're sort of just, I guess, sort of like observing both the film and the sort of experience. And I liked probably the thing I connected to most was I liked the undertones of like belief in the film and how she's like trying to understand that. I liked her character herself in how she's really trying to find herself and how she's sort of adamant in doing or wanting to do certain things in the movie. And I guess honestly it's hard to pin down, but it's some sort of just a feeling of the movie where when you see something like this, it feels like it's your kind of film. You can't really like define what those elements are that make it your kind of film, but it's just something that when you watch it, you feel a connection to it and you feel like, oh, this is a very me kind of movie. And it's something that I would like, if I were making it, I would like to sort of present it this way. Like, I'm not a director, I'm not a filmmaker,
Right.
but this is what I would like to be shown. And it feels like sort of in a weird way, part of like how I sort of process and look at things.
Did you watch a movie called 8th Grade
No.
by Bo Burnham?
yes, this film, I've heard of it.
It came out 2018. So we're not there yet in 2018, but I would recommend it. It's a very similar coming of age story. It's a little bit more not at that age, it's a little bit younger, but still, I found it very interesting. So let me check that out. Let me check it out. Good.
Nice.
Good tales of movies. Philip.
Lady
And I
Bird.
want to just add one last thing is that I did also like that it has some sort of very genuine kind of comedic elements to the story too, and I found myself laughing. So that's good.
Good. it's like a man who never laughed.
Exactly.
I was surprised.
I forgot how to laugh.
A chuckle.
I really
a
did.
chuckle.
So
You know what's interesting? That's a point I wanted to make about this. And going through all these movies, I noticed something. Like, basically, there was a little bit of comedy at the start, but comedies have basically died out. There's like really horrendous comedy movies.
pure comedies or what?
Pure comedy. Just like, this is a comedy movie. It's a trailer, and you're like, I'm going to laugh so hard. I'm going to go watch this movie. It basically disappears. There's some comedies at the start of this decade, and some of them I picked. But basically, by 2019, comedy just poof, disappears. And there's definitely movies that have comedic elements. There are movies that are funny, but they're not comedies. And I know, what I was wondering? And I was wondering why this happened. And I have to say, the idea or the reason why I think it is, it came from something that you said a while ago, Jacob. We were having a conversation, and we were talking about comedy movies. And you said, I don't like comedy anymore. I just don't find it funny. I don't like jokes. I don't find comedy movies or comedy movies funny, and I don't like jokes. The only thing I like and that I find funny is inside jokes.
That is true. I did say that, yeah.
And that made me think,
When was that?
I don't know,
That was a
maybe
long time ago on the old podcast.
4 or 5 years ago, yeah. And I was
The
thinking,
olden days.
I'm the same. I'm like, I don't watch comedians. I don't find jokes funny. When I was a kid, like 7, 8, I would remember all the jokes and retell them and everything. I haven't done that in like 100 years,
Yeah.
Does anyone know a joke anymore?
Not in 100 years.
And you were like, and yes, the funniest thing is inside jokes. Like, all three of us have these stupid inside jokes.
Yeah.
And they're moronic, but they're the funniest thing in the world.
I think that is because, comedy tries to... Here's the thing. Here's a tragic realization in my life, and that is that I remember watching a long time ago a video, maybe it was a Vsauce. I think it was a Vsauce video, where he was explaining how comedy works from like a neurological or psychological point of view, explaining that essentially comedy, the way it functions is that comedy presents something that you didn't expect. Right, that's the premise. So,
like subverting
jokes,
up expectation, right?
Thank you, exactly. And so that's, if you really look at comedy, that it's
Expectations.
that's exactly what comedy is.
Eggers.
And
Yeah.
why that's tragic, and to me, to realize that is that I think the older you get, the more you can predict the expectations of the jokes.
yes, of course.
And
You've
so
heard them all.
You've not only heard them all, but I think that you sort of, as you get older, you have like a more finely tuned intuition on, a multitude of factors, like who's the comedian, who's the target audience, what is he trying to say, where is he going to go with this? You can kind of guess, and when you can kind of guess, you can kind of limit the possibilities of that punchline of the joke or where it's going, and suddenly you're just like, it sounds horrible. It sounds like I'm being a cynic, but I'm not. I'm just saying
No. Yeah.
the comedy
I totally
works
get.
the
I
best.
totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. It's a tragic revelation, and that's why I wanted to say, to tie in what you were saying, is that inside jokes, the reason why they are still, I'm so happy that they're still funny, is because they're stupid. Because you never know what's the answer going to be, because no one's writing this stuff. It writes
They're never
itself.
clever. Yeah, they're never clever, and the reason they're funny is because you understand reference, which brings me back to what I thought, and this is my theory, and you listeners can share your opinion about this. Is comedy has disappeared because memes have taken over, because memes are inside jokes that the whole world is inside on, because it's the same joke as inside joke. They're stupid, and the only reason you laugh at them because you know the reference, you understand what they mean. If you don't know the reference, a meme is not funny at all. It's not. You have to understand it, right? So, everyone laughs at memes and meme videos nowadays, but no one cares about comedy. That's my
This is sad.
theory.
So
it's not sad.
Here's a great question for you guys then.
I don't mind.
To wrap this up, is that
It's okay.
what do you then think of like stand-up? We don't have to go into this, but just like in general, like stand-up comedy.
Oh, boy.
Because that's like very similar in some sense to comedy films? Do you guys like think that's something that you guys find funny or not?
I mean, there's so many different types of stand-up comedy, and you know, like, and I have to say, it's the same mentality of inside jokes. Like take for instance Ricky Gervais. His jokes are terrible. He can't write a joke, a classic joke. What he's doing, his entire comedy is of him saying things he shouldn't, and then he's grinning and he knows he shouldn't say it, and that's comedy. It's basically situational comedy.
Right.
That's what he does at the Golden Globes. That's what you know,
You're gone.
The Office is. That's what the Extras is. It's just there's no jokes there. There's no subverting expectations. There's no build up and punchline. It's just, I shouldn't be saying this, and it feels like an inside joke, you know, to me.
That's what I think. I wanted to say it feels like an inside joke.
Right.
That's why, for instance, the British Office, right? Ricky Gervais, David Brent, the character, he's still funny because you feel like you're in on the joke of understanding this sad man.
Yeah. Because you have the many layers of, you know, like in The Office, you get to see him how he's presented at the camera. You get to see him as he presented in an interview. You get to see him when he doesn't know he's getting, you know, filmed.
Right.
And it's many layers.
And plus you
of
have
that's
also the layers of also understanding that Ricky Gervais worked on it. You knew that this is also them, you know, filming this show.
Yeah.
How do they, you know, want to show this? And you have all that stuff. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then like comedy in other movies, it's very situational. You know, you laugh at what you usually laugh in real life. You know, something terrible is happening. You're like, what is going on? You switch on from crying how bad it is to laughing how bad it is. That's usually what.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Okay, so that was Lady Bird.
It's true. Sorry.
Okay, let's
The
keep
old podcast ways are taking
man.
over.
We can do it. We can do it. Though.
So-
We're almost there.
There's a movie there, Tim. It's called A Ghost Story.
Okay,
yes.
let's do that one.
A Ghost Story is a magical movie about a ghost who is just a sheet of so it's
Paper.
So the premise is Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara live in a house they buy, and Casey Affleck dies, unfortunately.
Okay.
And then he's a ghost, and he gets to live. He gets to observe the life that happens after until eternity. And it's a very slow movie, and it's not like Ghost. We'll see through. It's just a white sheet with eyes, just standing and looking at everything.
Really?
And there's a magical scene where Rooney Mara eats a pie for 10 minutes, and she eats the whole pie. This movie is truly magical. I don't know how to explain it. It's one of those things. It's the mood of it. It's a movie where it doesn't really necessarily tries to tell you something. It's just makes your brain think about everything. Makes you think about life, perception, makes you think about your life, what you're doing with it. And also it's just it has a really interesting mood to it. So that's why I put that, because it really made a strong impact on me watching this movie. And it's also one of those
really
things.
Interesting and strange.
Yeah.
A24.
Yeah, A24. But it's like, and also as someone who's interested, it doesn't do it, but he's still interested in the aspect of movie making, of what the elements to make a movie. It's sometimes you want to watch a movie that works, but it's unconventional in a way, not like crazy, French cinema of just madness, but it's like it's still just a narrative movie, but it's like these elements, they shouldn't work, but they work so well. So that's why I like the Ghost Story.
Nice.
What was the
Ghost
pie
Story.
thing? I missed the thing.
Oh,
Rooney Mara eats a whole pie.
yeah,
And the ghost watches.
Oh, okay.
and it's just a still shot of that. She just eat the pie. And it's an experience, and it's a changing experience watching that, and it's crazy, if you get into the movie, yeah, it affects you.
That's fascinating.
What about
A Ghost Story.
A Ghost Story? Great movie. What about the Red Turtle? Is that an animated movie? I never watched that.
That is an animated movie. Yes. Interesting about this
a
film
film
is
pick, yeah.
Yes, this is mine. It's co-produced by Studio Ghibli, but it wasn't animated they probably helped in some shots, but it was animated mostly in Belgium. I gotta check real quick.
No, the Belgians and the chocolates and the craft beers, the monkey beers.
Belgium.
Too strong and too grassy.
Strange, Belgium.
Man, it was. I had this. Do you know?
Dutch. It's
okay.
Dutch, French, Japanese.
Y'all got saved from a beer story.
The interesting thing about this film is that I watched this at a film festival.
Oh, I remember this. I remember this
Yes,
time.
in Trébon, which is not in France, it's in the Czech Republic. And it was one of those days where nothing was happening and I didn't have to do anything. So I just went, I have a pass. I'll just go and watch The Red Turtle. Looks interesting. I like the animation. This movie is quite experimental. It doesn't really tell a solid narrative, but it is very nice to look at. But it also, it still tells a story of a man on this island.
A man.
Yes, a man on an
And
island.
he sees this magical red turtle, and the things that happen is you could imagine it being just his hallucinations, desperation to get off the island, not being able to, but every time he sees this red turtle. And I don't want to go into it too much, but the red turtle eventually is found out to actually turn into a woman, and they start a family.
Ooh,
And it is just
sexy.
it's crazy. It's crazy. And I put this on not just because of that.
Because you're into red turtles turning into women.
Yeah, no. Not just because of that, but also because it's just like there were certain points in the movie where I just interpreted things myself, and I kind of got a little teary-eyed. There's some moments there that were just really emotional.
Okay.
And this might just be me projecting something that isn't there, but that's kind of sometimes what movies are, interpretational.
Right.
Yeah,
I kind of, there were some really nice moments in that film, and I think you should watch it just for the wonderful animation.
You have sold me on that movie. Red turtles turn into women.
Yes,
I'm all for it.
It's directed by Michael Dudok DeWitt, and I happened to bump into him at the Zagreb Animation Awards.
Okay.
And I said, I love the red turtle. Good job. And he said, thanks. And that was it.
That's a good story, Phil. I like it. I like it. Well, thank you for. I'm definitely putting this on my list. You have shaken my curiosity. That's not the right expression, but we'll go with it. But Jacob,
Yes.
answer me this.
Yes.
Why Baby Driver? Why
Listen,
you put Baby
I
Driver?
have to do like a little bit of a
Revision.
revision, but like just to be honest, that like when I was making this list, right? Like I really did take my time to make this entire list.
Yes.
But when I came to these later, to this year, 2017, I was thinking.
Was not in it.
Yeah, I was no.
Tim, I just wanted to tell you something real quick. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I just want to go back to
Yes.
Red Turtle and
Yes.
say that the movie has no dialogue.
I love it already.
Good. Go.
And I just didn't know. I was thinking like, it's been such a long time since I watched Baby Driver. Then I was wondering like, are we making the list again of like what made an impression on us? Then I was wondering what
Yes.
how we're doing the list. So I put it anyways, just because I remember we don't have to talk about it. But when I went to see it, I really liked it in the theater. But to be honest, I haven't seen it since then.
Do you think you would your
And the funny thing is, I don't feel. I don't really have a feeling to go watch it again.
Okay.
So it's just-
So that's why I was to revise.
I haven't seen Baby Driver since the theater either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we can just skip that one.
Yeah, it's just Baby Driver to drive away. What about I'm loving that you put Love and Vincent in there. That was a great movie.
Oh man, I need to see that one.
It was nice. I really liked the movie because
I can't believe that came out 3
honestly,
years ago. That's
Jacob,
insane.
Saoirse Ronan's in it. I don't know why you didn't see it yet, Jacob.
Yeah, your Saoirse Ronan credits are.
Yeah,
you
they're
lost your
lacking.
authority. Yes.
No, this movie. Are we talking about that now?
Yeah,
Love
talk
and
about
Vincent?
the Baby Driver's gone.
This movie's great.
Go
I mean,
away.
like
Vroom, vroom.
Tim, I don't know if you've went. I mean, like what we did when we were in America and when we were in Austria to an extent. I used to go in school trips, right, to art museums and stuff like that.
No, I was in poor countries, man. We went once to the opera, but I didn't go to the
well,
opera.
this
I went
sucks,
to buy
man.
sneakers.
I feel like so. I feel bad and privileged now. My white guilt is
You went to see great arts of
Yeah.
Mozart and
yeah.
Yes.
And so there's like these documentaries, and that kind of I have this kind of feeling in my soul about like there's feelings that you get when you watch documentaries, when you watch something in museums. There's just this thing, and this captured that on many levels, many scenes actually, especially the beginning with the lantern and the postman.
Oh,
but anyway,
yeah, that was oof.
Loving Vincent is just like a mystery where a man is looking for answers about what happened to
Why Vincent?
Vincent van Gogh.
Why Vincent? Was this the year that we went to
Why, Vince?
Amsterdam with the rare Amsterdam peepers? I think it was.
Could be.
Was it 2017?
Yeah.
Maybe. And it just follows this man who is just trying to find the backstory of Vincent van Gogh. And it's the best thing about this movie, hands down, is that it's all animated, rotoscoped, but animated and painted in Vincent van Gogh style.
Yes.
That's really
different
cool.
scenes and different styles of his paintings. Because
Yes.
he had, well, actually, not all his styles. Yes, it was 2017 went to Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I remember, no, 2016. That's a lie. Never mind. But I remember learning that Vincent van Gogh, he had a wide range of painting styles, and most of them are not known because it was before his specific style, and those are not really that used in the movie, but definitely his specific ones. And there's the ones that are just like his paintings, just crazy. It's an interesting concept. I agree with you, Philip. That's good pick on that over there.
Thank you.
I like it. Over there.
Yeah, it's good. It's very fascinating. Just for I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be a little honest here. Honestly, honestly speaking,
You were lying so far. So
You
let's.
filthy liar.
the story wasn't so strong for me, but I think that it makes up for it with just the style that it was made in.
Okay.
It's the effort that it was made with that. Yeah,
Yes,
in my
yes.
opinion.
It will drown you in its style, and you will be transformed into a painting.
Transformed.
But I still have to say the best Vincent van Gogh story was from Doctor Who. I was just so.
Oh,
that
dude.
was just
that
was
one.
amazing.
I haven't
too
seen
much. That's too much.
So much
That
emotion.
was such a good idea. I mean, all the time travel stories, doing that is just perfection. That's what time travel should be used at. All those poor suckers who suffered their entire life for their art and never get the recognition. You take them out and you put them in there and you look at this. Look at this. You're
Look at this. Look at you.
You're on postcards.
Exactly.
Rejoice.
Exactly.
Poor man. All right. Let's talk about Call Me by Your Name.
Let's do it.
I put this movie here.
Call Me by Your Name.
Call me by your name.
I'm not gay, and I do not find men attractive, nor do I. And I think yet,
What a great start.
yeah, no, but like it's like I think a lot of people. A lot of people
Go.
They find a personal connection with the story, with the characters. There's chemistry between the two actors. There's definitely they really sell you on the romance. But I think for me personally, what just broke me as a movie is that the feeling of how it was shot, the use of the film and the lenses and the sound.
You talked about the sound ones.
Yeah, it made me extremely nostalgic for summers of my childhood. And that's why I preface I'm not gay. It's not like I had like a gay romance.
Yeah, I had when I was 12. Sexually confused.
Yeah. That's like that's not part of it. It's just it's based in Italy, but it's kind of same region like in Yugoslavia where I grew up, and it's just something about the way it sounds and what it feels because it's based also in the 90s, and it's just something about living in a city for the last 10 years, not having experienced that. There's no technology. You're
countryside.
Bored. It is countryside, but not in like a stupid, like cheesy way. It's not like like we see in American movies. Like the big plains. It's very European. It's not like the buffalo roaming and we're all on our bicycles. Run.
That's what happens.
Yeah. It's about that. It's about the food, and you're like bored and you have nothing to do, and then there's those warm evenings where you can go out and just just chillax.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, you're thinking about your future and you think about your crushes, and it's just that experience of, you know, when I was a teenager, that it was insane, you know. And also there's a scene with Timothée Chalamet having sex with a peach, if you're into that.
Really?
Yep.
It sounds great.
That's yeah. So
That's really weird.
I think I had Jake on like the interest. You know, like there's like, you know, like on a compressor, there's like that needle going, and it keeps going up, and Jake just, and then I just bring it back, just dead.
Sex with a peach.
I'm
Boom,
guessing,
down.
you know, like when scenes like that happen in movies, right? People say, "Oh, there's that scene."
No, I wasn't going like that's my scene. I just remember
I
that. I couldn't
didn't say
resist
that.
not saying.
I
You
said
know?
that there's that scene in the movie,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing that probably is like what 10 seconds or something.
I don't remember how long it was. It's so uncomfortable.
You should
though.
go back and clock and see
Just watch it.
Yeah.
how long it is.
Just watch it on loop.
So yeah, that's why I put.
Yeah,
that
the
on.
only
Okay,
thing
interesting.
I've heard of this movie, and I honestly like first of all, I don't like the Italian countryside in general. It just depresses me. I don't know why.
Well, you were in the Italian countryside for 2 weeks, my man. Did it impress you?
I mean, that was fine because it was modern times and we were a family and it was fun.
But why does it depress you in not modern times?
I don't know. It just makes me feel bad. I don't
What
know.
is it
just-
like? Long
just-
lost, like that? Oh,
It's a purely personal thing. Like it
do you
just
know what it means? Did you have some kind of connection with something?
something. There's some. Maybe it just feels like maybe.
Were you in
it's-
Italy as a child?
I think I might have watched Godfather at an early age, and it was a little.
I was
too
knew it's gonna be
violent.
Godfather.
It was going to be something. It's something that I wasn't super optimistic about, and also like. Nah, I'm not going to talk about that.
No, come on,
It's just-
come on, Ooh, dude. Ooh.
What-
What is
What
it?
weirded me out about this whole thing was just that what's his name, Timothy,
Yes, Timothy.
Wait, did you
and
watch this film?
the other guy, and the other main. I didn't watch it because the other
Man
main.
from
What's his
Uncle.
name?
You didn't watch
Man
it
from
because of the
Uncle.
peach scene?
No,
didn't even know about the
because no, because honestly, Timothy looks like he's like 14, and what's his name? The other guy. He's in.
Man
He's
from
the Lone
Uncle.
Ranger.
The Lone Ranger. Oh yes, it's just true.
I want to remember his name.
His name is.
I must
Army
know him
Hammer.
by his name.
He's a hammer man.
Army Hammer. Army Hammer looks like he's 40, and that freaked me out. So I just didn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
just
I guess
couldn't.
it was a bit. Yeah.
Oh,
True.
it's just I just could. I can't.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the reason. I was just like, is that kid supposed to be underage?
I mean,
'Cause that's-
if you're not
that's
used to
terrible.
those kind of scenes, you might feel uncomfortable. If you're not, you know, especially it's
Yeah.
not something that's prevalent in the movies. Even, you know, so yeah, there might be. So
What
yeah.
is going on there, guys, with the age
Army Hammer's a bear of a
Oh,
man.
what's the story?
Yeah.
You want to know what the story? Okay.
what's
Oh, the
premise?
plot is so basically Timothée Chalamet. He and his family had this. His dad is an archaeologist, and for every summer, they basically go to Italy, and the dad works on the dig, and they just chill out, you know, in this country house. And one of the summers, his dad gets an intern who's a student. So, and I think Timothy
Even though he
Chalamet.
looks like he's 48.
Timothy Chalamet, I can't remember specifics.
though.
Might be
He
like
looks like he's
16,
40.
17 age. And this guy's like, you know, he's a student, so he's like 20, 21 maybe.
What? It looks like he's 40. Anyway, go on.
Exactly. You see?
Yeah. Well, in the movie, it really fades away. That kind of, it honestly does. And basically, they're both not portrayed as gays. Like I know, but at the start, I know Timothy has like this girlfriend, Italian local girlfriend, and everything.
Right.
But I guess they connect on a sort of like on a level, and then they kind of explore their sexuality and everything. And it's very mild. It's more like, you know, talking and everything, and then it kind of escalates throughout the movie. And then basically it has throughout the summer, and then he kind of, you know, sort of a bit kind of bittersweet ending. You know, this guy's like, okay, that was it, and that was fine, and that was a little fun we had this summer, Army says, and then he goes away, you know, and then and Timothy's a little bit broken, and there's a touching
Figured
scene
that probably would
with his-
happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this touching scene with his father. You know, he tries to talk to him, and it's also in the 90s, and you know, and it's they also
It's
do
like-
it in the hiding, but obviously the parents know.
Metallica and
Yeah, the parents
Stuff like
obviously you know figured it out, and he's very sad when Army leaves, and his dad tries to talk to him. That's a very touching scene.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Not beat him up and then throw him out of the house.
Yes, you're like go away. I don't like you
Good.
touching that man. All right. So let's move on to how about
That was Call Me by Your Name.
yeah, how about I finish off with Thor Ragnarok because it is the best MCU movie.
Yeah, you have to watch these
I
two
still have
back
one
to
movie,
back.
but you can do yours and I'll do mine.
Yeah, and then you'll do yours. And Phil has one more movie as well. So I just wanted to finish off with my movies and hear what you guys have to say. So Thor Ragnarok, everyone knows about this movie. Everyone's probably seen it because MCU is big. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite MCU movie. Taika Waititi is a genius. He refurbished Thor. It's funny. It's what everything I wanted it to be. A cheesy sci-fi medieval fantasy movie. It's glorious. And I also wanted to choose one MCU movie for the whole list because of the last decade. What was more influential than the MCU? No one knows. It made like a zillion money. It's insane that they made all these movies. That connection, the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. I can't believe that happened, and I love it all. So that's that. Everyone knows that. There's no need to beat the drum. What is First Reformed? I don't even know what this is. What is this, Jacob?
Oh, okay.
Jacob, what is this?
So I also discovered A24. And
this is a A24 I have not seen. What is this?
Yes. And it's a movie that really, to me, was like, this seems like an interesting story. I would love to check
that poster
out.
looks spooky.
This poster looks spooky. The movie's not what the poster reflects. Go look at some images on Google.
Okay.
So
it's not
First
spooky.
Reformed is a movie by Paul Schrader, who I've not heard of before, but evidently he is known for some things.
He is known for some things.
He's known for something.
Really selling Paul Schrader here.
Paul Schrader and his peaches.
So it's interesting. Ethan Hawke is the star of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise is that he is a...
Paul Schrader is famous for writing such movies as Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Affliction.
Okay.
He's a
writer.
Scorsese affiliator.
Okay.
He's a writer. But he did direct, but those are not known.
I knew he did something.
Yes, I'm looking at his directorial features, and I do not know these movies.
Anyway, so the premise of the story is Ethan Hawke is a pastor of a small church in upstate New York, and it centers around him, and it's a very like historic church, and attendance is like super, super low.
What kind of church is this?
It's like a sort of mainline Protestant,
Like
Lutheran or something like that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he's like sort of like in this strange place where he's pastoring the church very seriously, but no one is like coming, and everyone has moved on to the mega church across the road, and it's sort of like exploring that thing. But really, the story is about him, and the mood of this film is very, very, it's very slow. It's very depressing, and the story takes place with him befriending, or rather, the setup of the movie is that he's pastoring this church, and then someone comes to him for help, for advice, and it turns out to be something much more serious, and he does not.
Is this going to be an
necessarily-
exorcism?
No supernatural. And he doesn't know how to handle
Tim's
this.
already going.
Yeah.
He's always like telling them like, just go to this mega church. They have all these different things. And
They have a band playing worship.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
great.
cool because the sort of the setting is very interesting, and he himself is a very, very, very like both both like righteous person, but he's also very what's that called? What's that the like
Describe it.
what's that called? Where,
You're not giving us any clues, man.
okay, wait. Like where you inflict pain on yourself because you're like guilty,
he's a sadist?
sinful,
Sadist.
something like that. But more in the sense of like in his writing, he writes this journal, which is like a prayer
Self-deprecating?
journal. Self-deprecating. Thank you.
Okay.
Self-deprecating. He's like an alcoholic. He struggles, but he hides the alcoholism. Everyone around him like sees sort of the destruction that he's putting upon himself, but he's sort of still pretending to sort of. It's a very, very interesting sort of character study of this guy, And then throughout the movie, what happens is you start to realize how much more, I guess, sort of, in a sense, not to really spoil anything, but things get much more crazy.
Exorcist-y.
No. You keep expecting because of the poster. Don't look away.
The poster is a little bit
Look at that!
insane.
Look at that poster. It's just exorcism,
Bad
just
poster.
bounding to
It's
happen.
demonic.
It's a bad poster.
The fire. He's like,
Because I didn't see the poster. I just saw a picture of Ethan Hawke in the church. And I was like, okay,
Gotcha.
interesting. And so the movie then sort of starts to unravel and things get much more like darker and more serious, and things get a little more insane. And so not to spoil anything, it's really just this character study of this person, kind of what he's going through and how things go really, really sort of like off the rails for this guy and for the people around him in that sense too. So
that sounds interesting. I think I might give it a watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like something that
Give it a watch.
is like it's not. I wouldn't say it's like an amazing film per se. It's nothing that's going to strike you and be like, "Whoa!" Like this was just like brilliant. But it is for the tone and sort of if you're interested in that sort of setting of this kind of depressive character study. It might be interesting to you. So, and I liked it because, like I said, I noticed it was on the A24 roster, and I was like, probably going to be at least interesting and well made.
At least, yeah. They know what to choose.
Nice.
Those boys. Okay,
Cool.
that's lovely. So, Philip, we have last movie of 2017, which I'm very glad you picked because I didn't have space for it anymore because I struck to my
Timmy
loo.
approves.
Yeah, I was gonna put that there. That was Deacons and Danny Strike Back, and
They're in here a lot.
They gave us. What did they give us?
Blade Runner 2049. So Blade Runner 2049, I'm not a big fan of Blade Runner in general, the first movie. I love how it looks. I love the tone. I could watch it again, but for me, it's not like I'm a fan. It's not like, like
You do not love
I don't really,
the Holy Man.
the Holy Man?
Yes, the creator.
I'm talking about the first Blade Runner.
Yeah, the first Blade Runner. The first Blade Runner is enriched in color by the very Frenchman.
I know, but I'm talking about the first one.
Yeah, the first one. Who did the music
Ridley
for the
Scott.
first one? Who did the music for the first one?
Oh! Vangelis. I forgot. How dare I forget his
How
name?
dare you forget about a true prophet? Vangelis and his hopeful sounds that he loves to return at the end of the song.
Yep. It was, like that movie's like great, but I'm like not like a fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you know what that means? Like it's just like it's
You
I
understand
could
the
watch it
value
again.
of it, but you're not like
Yeah. But I don't have like a time. I don't.
You're not a cyberpunk emo. Let's just put it that way. You don't dream
But I
of
do love the-
neon chairs and neon
Electric
lights
sheep.
on you. No, like neon PC rooms, with
No.
LED lights.
I mean, I love it, but I don't care about it so much.
That's
So,
okay.
Blade Runner 2049, and like that's kind of a movie that how could you even want to make a sequel of it, right?
Yeah.
And
How
whenever
dare
you
you.
think of a sequel, whenever you think of a sequel, you think that it's just going to be nonsense. It's going to be Hollywood trash.
Yeah.
Because that was just a movie of its time. It was made perfect, lightning in a bottle, that kind of situation. So this movie encapsulates what I feel is like that it's possible to. No. Okay. I know Tim wouldn't like that.
No.
that-
What am I? The police of this? Say what you want, man.
That it's possible to actually, even if you think there won't be a good idea to make a sequel for something that is holy, for something that is seen as, like a big deal in the film culture, it's possible that you can do it and you can do a good job. And
Look,
this
man,
is,
I'm not against sequels. I just, for a fact, most sequels are shit. I don't mind if someone goes to.
that's what I thought when 2049 was, announced.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And you watch it and you're like, wow, this expands on it. This turns it into like, there isn't a not reason for it to be existing, except for maybe Harrison Ford just looking like Harrison Ford.
with his haircut. Old man Harrison Ford.
And his earring. He has to
man
show off his
Ford.
earring.
Old man Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like it?
and-
Jacob? Sorry, I cut you off there, Phil.
I think that for me, the atmosphere was very interesting. I guess maybe I expected a little more sort of answers, sort of to the history.
To be fair, I agree with Jacob. I will say that it's not like super amazing, but it's just but I'm just so impressed at how it was pulled off, you know?
I think I wasn't like in love with, the vibe that maybe you guys liked more.
Oh, I guess not a cyberpunk emo either.
Maybe that's the case, yeah. And also I wanted more of the sci-fi sort of
Noir.
more of the sci-fi like philosophical stuff /
Oh, okay, yes.
Do
androids dream of electric sheep?
Because they had like stuff right from the first one. They sort of set things up, and you're like, "Ooh, what's going on?" Right? Ooh. And so I thought maybe the second one might be like a big,
replicants,
a big reveal of like the answers are all here, and I'd be like, interesting.
Well, we have to wait for the trilogy to end to find the answers.
Yeah. Well, this one like kind of made it bigger. You know what I mean? Instead of it being Evangelis, and instead of it being like intricate and small, spacious, and like very shadowy, this one is like color, that kind of thing. And I have to just mention that I almost teared up at the end, like the last shot with Harrison Ford.
Last shot of Harrison Ford?
Yeah, wasn't it? He's looking. Spoilers, looking at his daughter.
Oh, that's true. That's true. He gets it in the end. But good old replicant.
Ryan yes, he also
dies.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
A robot can't die. He's shut off. He's shut
a good
off.
Old boy, though. He's
turned off. They're not people. Hashtag robots are not
and
people.
I want to, okay, that's Blade Runner 2049, but I did want to put special mention. I should have put Logan in there, but I didn't, and it was either that or Logan.
Like,
don't know.
Why didn't you put Logan?
I think it's because I haven't seen it since the theater.
Look, as you forgot about, let's see what else is in 2017. Logan.
Yeah, really good movie. I almost cried at the end of Logan. So there we go.
There's some good movies. The good movies in that. Shape of Water. Do you remember that? Disaster Artist.
Didn't see it.
Jumanji.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that.
Guys put
Disaster
Jumanji
Artist was a disaster.
Yeah, I didn't like to enjoy Disaster Artist.
But Phantom Thread is
if you
a good
read the
movie
book
of that.
Oh yeah, Phantom Thread.
You should watch that movie. Phantom Thread is a glorious movie. Damn, so many good movies. Okay, let's we don't have time to look at the non-pickers.
Come on, let's keep going.
Let's move on. 2018. What?
What? Here we are.
We're almost there.
Department.
My eye looks at something here. The two boys pick. You picked a Spider-Man.
Yes, Spider-Man back in action.
The boys are back.
Yep.
You guys.
And this one is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
You guys enjoy Spider-Man?
Yes.
I like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse was felt very fresh. Like when donuts are fresh.
The fresh donuts.
Very
this
fresh.
This was like fresh.
Sprinkle crispy.
Like fresh bread out of the oven.
Yes.
Why do we always turn into Bela Lugosi at the end of everything?
Spider fresh.
Fresh spider on my plate.
It's like the bread is crispy on the outside, but soft
I wake up
on the inside.
And fresh spider, and I'm like, nom.
Yes. So yeah, do you want to talk about it or should I talk about it?
I can just say a couple of sentences, which was that when we were going to the movie, I thought like, what in the world is this? I was like, based on the poster and
the fourth Spider-Man in the last 20 years is nuts.
And I was like, what is this? Like, this is Sony, right? Sony Spider-Man, not Marvel.
Yeah.
And I was like, And I was like, is this going to be like some very
cautious of the program
oriented towards just like a younger audience? No idea.
Yeah. And then, I thought it was going to be just a kind of generic hero's journey movie.
Right. And then, you start watching the movie and it's just rolling and you're like, huh. And it felt very, very fresh and fun and
hilarious.
Yeah. And just the animation style, and it just felt very like you really didn't know what was going to happen next. And it was a very enjoyable, entertaining movie.
Yeah.
What did you think of the ending?
I really liked it.
I thought the ending was a little bit weak.
The ending was a bit
I thought the ending battle wasn't the best. It wasn't
these
for me,
superhero
battle,
movies. They always suffer.
They always do the ending battle.
That's a great example. It could have been something much less
Like
into the
the
world.
Doctor Strange ending. That was such a good twist on that, you know.
True.
The battle, it didn't turn into,
Yeah.
you know, Battle of the
Save the
Dormammu.
world in terms of explosions all over the world.
But other than that, like the story was told very well. It was like it had a lot of heart to it. Like I was so like I could relate to a lot of parts in this movie. I watched it again recently, the first time since theaters, and I'm just like, I thought it wasn't that good, but I watched it again, and I'm like,
watched it
yeah,
again?
it's still that good.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
you
haven't
even
seen it since, yeah.
you have reaffirmed, yes.
yeah, you should watch it. You should watch it again.
Confirmed.
My favorite joke of that whole movie is when they're stealing the computer from that lab, and poor old baby Spider-Man is taking like the monitor and the computer and everything, just running through the whole thing, and then he's like, "We don't need that." It just throws away the monitor. That was funny. That was funny.
There was some good stuff with the lazy Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I like that.
Peter
They went
B.
with the
Parker.
Laser. I can't
A laser
talk.
P. Bzzz.
Laser
Cut the toilet in half. Bzoom, zoom, zoom.
That sounds
Yeah.
good. Laser P.
It's good music too.
Lightsaber. Great music.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like when
what
I
else
go
we
to the
got here?
bathroom.
It's the second best It's the second best Spider-Man movie.
Starbucks. What?
I was gonna say Star Wars, then I remembered
Oh.
I was talking about Spider-Man.
Both start on S. Speaking of Marvel, you got Infinity War there, I see. Filippo.
Me, yes.
Yes.
Ba, 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 ba. Pum,
Did we see
pum,
that together? Do I remember?
No, we didn't. We never watched any of these together.
No. Filippo. We did not? Are you
Sadly.
sure?
No, we didn't.
No.
Never.
Because we never came over in the summer. Remember, this was like May.
Summer
This was like
movies.
late
That's
April.
True. That's
Yeah.
true. Too hot.
I'm trying to remember if we ever watched a Marvel movie together. I don't think
Spider.
so.
This is on my list because for me it feels like this has a lot of replay value for me. I can watch it again and again. I feel
so much more than Endgame, and I love Endgame, but I think
Yeah.
Infinity
And-
War is just a little bit tighter.
for me. And watching this in the theaters,
True.
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how they were going to do it, and so as the movie kept going, who knew what was happening, and that kept me very engaged and entertained watching it.
And that ending,
And
it's
yeah, ending was great, and I can't they tricked me. They did. They said that the first Avengers 3 movie will be a totally different
Yeah.
story, and the fourth one will be a totally different story. And I thought, and then I noticed that the ending was coming because it's already been
Yeah.
like you can kind of feel it.
yeah.
And I'm like, they tricked me.
They're all going to die.
Because I just remember watching this in a big theater screen. I remember the ending, like when the credits came up, no one was clapping, everyone was kind of quiet.
Yes.
And I remember there was a thunderstorm afterwards. So
What
of
an
course.
experience.
Yes.
What
so
an experience.
I put Infinity War here because I feel like this is in my ranking of Marvel movies, I think this is number 3,
Okay.
the top 3,
What?
if not number 4, but I think it's number 3.
Oh, don't put it down. Keep it up.
First one being Iron Man, second one being Avengers.
But that's the progression, That's the progression you go through. Start off with
There you go.
Iron and with the Avengers. Okay.
Man.
Let's
Okay.
let's talk about a movie that I picked. Which one would you like to
Yes.
hear about?
I would like to hear.
I want to see Rome. I want to hear about Roma.
Roma. Roma is a beautiful, beautiful movie. It's something that I don't have a physical connection to. I did not grow up in Mexico as a child. I'd never been to Mexico. But Alfonso Cuarón films
Yes,
this movie
Cuarón.
in black and white and makes you feel like you actually did. It's insane. It's insane how he can... And that for a fact in the 70s, And he can portray that without any gimmicks, without any feeling it false.
No, just they were all like very nice, stable
And he takes
wide shots.
And he takes his time with everything, and you really get a sense of life, and you get a really sense of characters and what it means, and the elements that are portrayed there as they are that are nostalgic to his childhood. You can really feel it, and you really understand it, and you understand the dynamics between the people. You do understand motivations, and it should have won the Oscar. To be honest, if
What won the Oscar for this year?
oh, I don't know, my friend. I don't know.
it
No,
Moonlight?
it was that stupid movie, The Green. No, The Road. No, the book, The Green Book,
Oh yeah,
which is
yeah, that sucks.
Which is
that sucks,
yeah,
man.
that was.
So funny story. I was watching Roma,
Oh, you watched Roma?
and I was watching it, and I paused it, and I said, "I'll finish it later."
Oh no.
And you can tell what happened then.
Yeah. You never visited Roma ever again because you don't like those
Yeah.
Italians.
No, that's the other thing. Like, I just didn't like the environment. Again, it's just a personal thing. Once again,
I
it's like,
know,
it's
but
very
I know because
similar.
Phil talked about this before. He gets shivers if you
I
watch
can't
like a
I don't know.
Spielberg movie when there's like dust in the air and there's like
Oh, dude, yeah, that's
right. He
bad.
doesn't like that.
The Spielberg horror trilogy for me are E.T., Jaws, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
maybe that's what it's coming from. It's just that 70s
Maybe,
and
yeah.
80s kind of 35 millimeter full of volumetric lights and dust. It just
Yeah,
freaks
there
you
we go.
out. Okay, that's interesting.
it.
He likes
It is interesting.
film likes his movies clean. And
I like
sharp.
them
He's a
clean.
clean boy.
He's a clean boy. All right. So what do we got here? Fallout. What the hell is that? You can't put games in here, Philip.
Yeah,
Yeah, what is that?
What is Fallout?
Fallout is what was it? The 6th Mission Impossible movie?
Oh, you hiding Mission Impossible here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, like I
Which one
was
was that again,
so
Phil?
the one with Henry Cavill.
Oh, with his mustache.
With his
that's
mustache.
right.
He's such
That was
a
a fun
beast in that
one.
movie. Yeah.
That was a fun
It
movie.
was a fun movie.
Kind of
Did
trails
you see it,
off in
Tim?
the end with the like whole everything. I don't know.
I don't.
Like with the helicopter.
know.
Was it with the helicopter?
Yeah, the one where Tom Cruise is trying to kill himself.
Oh, that's the one with the medical.
The bomb.
The medical bombs. Exactly. Like at that point in the end, I was like kind of like zoning out. But I think
Right.
with Henry Cavill and his mustache and they're fighting in the bathroom, that was good stuff.
Hey, but also the one where they drop down and do the halo jump
Halo. No, I didn't.
from the plane.
It's a good shot. But I didn't feel it. It didn't connect. It was not.
Yeah, you know why? Because they added CG storm clouds in there, but that was an actual shot. They actually filmed it jumping
That's
down
true.
the plane,
Ooh.
Yeah.
but they put CG clouds and it didn't look that real. The reason why it's on here is because I can't believe that the Mission Impossible series could get like improve. So
Okay, like
that was
yeah.
interesting.
I like
keep
Vanessa
going.
Kirby. I want to see her more movies. She's got a
Who?
Vanessa Kirby. She plays in it.
She's beautiful.
wait. Okay. I'm obviously, but she's got a really like mysterious look behind her. She's always like, I don't know what that woman is scheming in her head. Should be in more movies.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
a schema.
She's a schema, and she's beautiful, as Phil.
Schema.
As Phil has
Yes.
said. So let's move on away from this beautiful woman and this beautiful movie, Fallout, you have hidden here. Let's talk about a documentary that Jacob put in here that I watched
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, what is this?
So
That's a Netflix one, right?
Tell me about it. I've never heard of it.
I'll tell you all
Rashida
about
Jones has produced this movie.
So what's interesting about this movie is
No,
that
she didn't. Sorry. She produced the other movie. Never mind. I forgot. Continue. I apologize.
this is a movie that me and Paolo went to watch at the same theater that we also went to watch Lady Bird in.
Mm-hmm.
What was interesting is that we went in like a smaller. There's one big theater and one smaller theater at this place, and actually that was the same day that we got together, which is surprising.
Ooh, so a little bit of
So a little
history.
Yes. And I was like, hey, let's go. Like, I'm gonna go check out this movie called Whitney because I was like, it's a documentary. Sounds kind of interesting. Why don't
I'm
we
a
go together?
documentary guy.
I just like docs.
I'm a doc man.
And yeah, so that's a little history there. And the film itself, I think, is it was okay. It wasn't really super amazing, to be honest
It's a
with you.
sad movie.
But it's interesting
sad
that you
movie,
picked a
man.
documentary of another
Yes.
singer.
Singer.
When you
True.
and with
Who died.
and her first name is the title of the documentary, and then there's Amy.
I think it's very,
and they both are dead.
yeah, how drug overdose. And there's sad stories, how fame
But you know, I want to say,
and the business killed them.
so if
Killed
we're going to
them
compare
dead.
these arbitrarily, Amy and Whitney, what was
That
not
should be a movie called
Amy and
Let's be
Whitney.
like an action hero.
That's when they make the Avengers documentary,
Yeah.
Amy and Whitney.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
with Amy, what they did well, I think, was that they really sort of balanced things out with presenting who she was, her background, all that stuff, and then later on get into sort of the complications of stardom / music biz. Whitney, I felt was very strange because, with Amy, I kind of got a feel for sort of the music she did and maybe even the records she put out, and her timeline was very clear. Whitney was weird in that sense because I came in kind of wanting to learn more about her as an artist because I had never really known all her music. And I think the documentary a little bit kind of expects you to know more about her. And they kind of are really focused on the sort of dramatic, aspects.
It was very mellow. It was like, look at this poor woman. This poor woman, everything bad happened to her.
And honestly, like I know
this poor woman.
A great example is, did we have this here? And we did have it in this mega epic decade. I talked about Sound City, right?
Yes.
And
but that's different.
I know it's different, but I'm just giving an example. A small example is that Sound City, what I loved about it is that they would give you like very clear snippets of music as examples.
Right.
And that's, great because then you're like, whoa, that sounds great. I might check that out. And I was expecting that with Whitney. I was expecting like,
but that was a very different movie. That was a personal story. It wasn't about the music at all. She never wrote the music either. You know what I mean?
Okay, but
you're right.
Okay, but fair enough.
She's a performer. It's about the performance, and I understand what you're saying, but it's a very different movie.
I'm just saying that, let's say if I compare Amy presented that much clearer and better for like newcomers, and you can understand all that stuff. Whitney, I felt, was more like just focused on the problematics of her life, and then later on, it gets even more melodramatic. So anyway, that was my opinion. So
that's good. I watched it. It was interesting. She is a poor woman, It's you know what hurt me the most in that movie, and I guess you don't know to trust her or not because it's portrayed in a certain way in the movie, but basically how her family treated her, they used her, and it's like it's someone you trust and someone of all the business people and all the people who are trying to suck the money out of you. You are nice to your family, you give them jobs, and in the end, they kind of just, use you as like this money. That was like the saddest part to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just learned that Whitney Houston's daughter died too.
Yep.
It's terrible.
Sad stuff all around.
Yeah.
Business bad. Music business bad. You must.
But anyway,
person must be
significant film for me, but the movie itself was better.
Okay. That is good. So we have 2 more movies on the list for me. Which one do you want to know about?
2 more.
I would like
first.
to know about. We can go with old Stalingrad.
Death of Stalin.
Highly recommend. One of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It's absolutely hilarious. Dark comedy, satire.
Oh, it's with Jason Isaacs too, isn't it?
Yep. It's basically Stalin dies, and what do the high-ranking officers of the Russian Soviet Union do after it? It's portrayed.
Steve Buscemi's in this as well.
Dude, he plays. What does he play? I forgot who they play. But it's really making fun of the regime and how things were. It's really tongue in cheek, and it's that dark humor, kind of just making fun of like just how bad everything is, but it's never too much. I think it's a good amount, and I don't know, it's really, really funny. I have to say, it's not like kooky and but it really understands the subject matter.
Okay,
there's some definitely like some artistic liberties on portraying some of the actual events, but still, definitely, I would recommend that. And then the other movie I have here is The Favorite.
Tell us.
Which I spelled
is
favorite here, but
is it the favorite?
No, it's just favorite. I don't know how to spell it. So
I'm joking.
It's a movie about.
Is it your favorite?
Yes. It is one of the
I wanted
favorite.
to see this.
It's a movie about Yorgos Lanthimos.
I want to see
a man from Greece. This man, I saw a movie a long time ago that he made called Dogtooth, and I was very interested. That movie was creepy as hell, and I love
Hold
it.
on. There's a movie called The Favorite, which
That's
is
what
with
I'm looking at.
Queen Elizabeth.
Yes, that's what I want to see.
Yes. With Emma Stone and
Yeah.
who else was
What are
there?
you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Olivia Colman. What do you mean? The Favorite. Came
Oh,
out
okay.
2018.
Same thing.
Yeah, you got Emma
With Olivia
Stone and you
Colman.
got Olivia Colman, Rachel
Okay, because
Weisz.
you're saying it's about a Greek man from Greece.
Oh, that's the director. talking
Oh,
about the director.
I was like, what?
what is this?
And I saw the movie. This first movie called not this first movie, but the movie that I saw was Dogtooth, and I saw it in 2009, and it was really cool. And I completely forgot about this director. And then about the time The Favorite was coming out, I was like, "Oh, this looks cool." Emma Stone is it looks like what did this guy make? And I was like, "Oh, I made The Lobster. I'm really interested in that. The Killing of the Sacred
The
Deer."
Lobster, of course.
And I was like, I got to check these movies out. And I watched those two movies, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited for The Favorite now. So I was, and that movie didn't disappoint. And I think it's the strongest movie. It's not as weird and it's not as dreadful as his other movies. It's a little bit more. It really. Did you guys watch the Kubrick movie? Larry, what's it called?
Barry Lyndon.
Barry Lyndon. Yeah, it's very, very reminiscent of that. And if you like that movie, then Barry Lyndon is an epic movie. It's something special. All Kubrick movies are something special. So yeah, those are my 2018, 2017.
Guys, because now we're pretty much done because 2019 we had covered everything.
We did our
on the
podcast.
And Tim,
we did our podcast.
You can let us know about these extra films which we didn't cover, and then we're done.
Yeah, so I'm just
Wow.
going to read out what Phil has. The Lonely Parasite here.
Yeah, that's all I got. I don't know what else.
Parasito.
Honestly, I don't know what else they could put on.
You're a
it.
maniac, Philip. So you're a maniac, Philip. Okay, and then
What?
Jacob. I am disappointed in your list, man.
What did you
What
want
is
me
this?
to put?
Okay, look. I'm not judging you. I would just think there would be more movies you like. I don't know, man. Doesn't matter.
I looked through and I thought it would be funnier if I put one, so you can be like, "Wow, not many good movies out today, huh?" And I'd be like, "Yeah."
Interesting thought process.
So it's an interesting thought process, and it happened. You're a prophet. Congratulations. So now we have Jacob with Parasito. We talked about that. We talked about Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit.
We talked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We didn't talk about 1917, which I didn't see yet. So would you
Check it
recommend?
out. Yes.
I liked
Deacons.
it. I liked 1917. Maybe I should have put that on too.
Take the time. If you're
Deco.
going to watch 1917, don't watch it like in a rushed environment.
Yeah.
Just take the
Also-
nice evening.
On a bus.
Also, I've
Dim
heard like mixed reviews about it.
Peach.
I've heard mixed reviews about it. Some people say it's corny, and some people say they use the one take gimmick too much. In my opinion,
One take gimmick.
in my opinion, I thought it actually helped portray certain parts of war where you can't
Yeah.
cut away. You have to keep
Yes.
going on the same take. You know, you can't.
It puts you in the situation.
Yeah. So
I
there
would
was
say-
parts like that, and there was also
Well, Sam Mendes, the director,
Yeah.
made a movie with Roger Deakins, Skyfall, which I had on the list here.
Yeah.
Well,
1917 is
I'm
there,
excited.
too.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so
And
just
then-
take an evening, dim the lights, and just.
Yeah.
I think you might find it interesting.
And then when
hate
I
it.
was okay, but I think I'll enjoy it. I think I might not hate it. I don't know. Who knows? You never know. You never know with movies.
Tell us
Who
about
knows?
these final movies. So
yeah.
we can
Finally,
go to
your
bed.
magnum
Okay,
opus.
so I lost my mind at the end of making this list. I couldn't decide. So I have Parasito, but I'm gonna. You know what? Parasito is a great movie, but it's not gonna go on my list. Everyone has
Interesting.
Parasito.
You're
I
just
want
gonna
to
erase it. You're just gonna erase
Yeah.
it.
Be a
Endgame,
special
I was gonna-
snowflake, delete it.
I was wondering why you put Endgame. I wanted to hear about your personal experience.
I put
Can we
only
just not go
Endgame here
super
because I wanted to honor the MCU, but I already done that with Thor Ragnarok. So Endgame, be gone, and I have three
Oh,
movies.
I wanted to
you
hear.
left
I really
with-
wanted to hear what you thought about it.
Look, Endgame is great, and I love it. And we talked about it to death. There's
Yeah,
just something
yeah.
special about how they finished with the Infinity War and Endgame together. It's just perfect. They know what they do. So we have Jojo Rabbit, which we talked about, and then we have two movies. And the one is Knives Out. That's
Interesting
That's
that came to your list.
Yeah, Knives Out. I enjoyed it. I watched it with it came out on home release recently, and I watched
Oh
it.
wait,
with
it
my
did.
wife.
I should watch
Yes.
it.
Yeah, we should watch it.
And Emma's a huge fan of mystery and detective stuff.
Nice.
So, and it's a bit of a play on that genre. So I was super excited, and she absolutely loved it so much. She was so excited to watch that movie and she wanted to watch it again
that's
immediately. So that I was super excited.
So would you recommend?
Yes, it's a very endearing movie, I would say. It's just a fun movie to watch. It's so many great characters and it's so many acting bits, and it's great writing as well. So Knives Out, it's a spin on the old detective mystery Cluedo genre. It's lovely.
A spin on the old Private Dick.
Okay, spit on your private dicks, everyone, and let's move on to
No, it's a you know what a private dick is, right?
yeah, man.
It's not a public dick.
No, that's
What's a private
your
dick?
own.
Private
It's a-
detective?
That's what they called it. That's what they called it.
Oh, that was like a shortened name.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a film noir.
Yeah,
Give me that
yeah.
private dick.
So they called them P-dick. The dick.
Yeah.
I need a private dick right now.
Private dick.
I'm gonna lose it.
Let's go. Last movie.
Last movie. Lighthouse.
This is your
Best movie of the
favorite,
year.
man. You've been talking about this for like a year and a half.
It's everything. I
Let's
hoped
hear
for
it.
and more. It's everything
Lighthouse.
I hoped for and more. Robert Eggers comes back. He comes back with full force, and he's more. It's more artistic expression. It's more stubborn, just portraying what he had in his head. It's more vague plot wise, and it's just visually. It's more deliberate. It's just the artist grows, and he produced The Lighthouse, and it's on my wavelength. It's about two lighthouse keepers, one young, one old, and that's how even the script is written, young and old. Those are the only two characters we have in the movie, and they are scheduled to work on this lighthouse on an island. One is the old school keeper who's been working there, and then there's a new guy. So old guy is what's his face?
Willem Dafoe.
Yep.
Willem Dafoe, and new guy is
Willem
Mr.
Dafoe.
Twilight,
Mr. Batman.
Mr. Batman. Yes.
Okay.
Basically they are kind of stranded there because of the storm, and they lose their minds, and there's all sorts of craziness going on. There's like some reveals of
All I know is
of character, and there's
Yeah.
like some plot lines, and it goes into this feeling of how it feels. Is I would say it as like a fever. It's like a fever dream. I would put it. How it starts to feel of things you see and things you feel, and it's funny. Is it so funny? There's an entire scene where they're drunk, and then you pass the drunk high and you're down, and they're talking about stuff, and says Willem Dafoe's cooking sucks, and he's like,
Oh, he's talking
you
about
take
his
it
lobster.
back. You take it back. My cooking is good. And he speaks like,
you
like a
take it
pirate.
back.
And then
Hark,
he
you don't
gives-
like my lobster. That's the
Yes,
only
he
thing
like-
I know, because people keep joking about it all the time.
It's amazing. And then he gives this 4-minute curse because he doesn't like his cooking. And it's just amazing shot. And also, technically, this movie is crazy. He shot everything on these vintage lenses. It's on a black and white stock and this crazy square aspect ratio. And what they did to everyone look really like, they used the blue filter. Where it kind of blocks out the red light. So everyone's
Skin is like really dark or something?
yes, a really dark and really rugged, and it just gives you this really creepy feeling of everything, because you're not used to seeing people like that. And also the light is very sort of like super like 20s kind of one light, usually like a harsh light, because also they're using on this film stock, it's very bad sensitive, so they have to use these insane powerful lights to light anything, because otherwise you wouldn't see anything there. So it's a really high contrast movie, and that shot when he's giving the curse because he's mad he doesn't like his cooking, is just like from a downward angle, and it's like a one shot, and Willem Dafoe stands up, and it's amazing performance, and the light is from below, and the light how it hits his eyes and his sockets is just super creepy, and it's hilarious at the same time. So movie of the year, man. Lighthouse.
Okay.
Lighthouse.
Here. Very cool.
Wow.
Definitely gonna check it out.
So
That's
crazy.
it.
Hey, Tim, wait.
What?
Did Uncut Gems come out in 2019?
Yes, it did. I didn't watch it. It was on Netflix.
I
Actually.
saw it.
What did you think?
It was pretty good. You should watch it.
I definitely have it definitely on the
It
list.
is so. It's like I know many people have told you this already, but like it's super stressful.
No, I've heard
It's like
that they
you
use
want to be
super-
stressed out. Let's do it.
Okay. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything because I didn't know what was going on, but then I noticed what's happening, and it's like,
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know nothing.
No, okay.
Yeah, nothing.
I don't want to know. I want to go.
So that's
Uncut Gems.
that. Wow,
that's that. So we made it through. Thank you for listening to this twofold podcast special, Bonanza Ranza.
Bonanza.
I think we did a good job on the first one time-wise at 1:45, I believe.
And
Here
now
we went back to our old ways, like
now
when,
you don't like me lobster, son.
People
Yes.
relapse, alcoholics relapse.
Yep.
That's kind of what it feels like.
But it's okay. It's a special. We tried, but unfortunately, we like talking to each other, and it just happened. So we apologize. Hopefully, you enjoyed it in its obscene length.
It is a special. I mean, if you think about it, a decade. I mean, that's
true.
That's true.
Decade
Yeah.
of a movie. You gotta split. We could have split it to another part, but you know what? No,
By the way,
Nah.
I like our hopeful one episode.
that's one episode, 1 hour. We're like, we have
But
nothing to say about these
the
movies.
math would have been, I think, like each movie review would have been 2-3 minutes. I think if you wanted to do the classic time.
Impossible.
So yeah, this has been a decade
Impossible.
of movie watching, and it's been interesting. It's been interesting.
Yep.
Who knows what the next decade will hold?
If you like specials like this, suggest some themed specials. Maybe we can do something like that.
Yes, and also if you have a list of the decade,
please
send it over. Send it on Instagram. Find us Twofold Podcast. We'll probably post these lists on the Instagram as well, so you can look at it in detail if you missed something. And the rules are 3 movies, 1 up to 3 movies per year from 2010 2019. I would really like to see your picks because I found out a few
we should
good
make
movies.
a little type form thing people can submit if they want. Maybe we'll see.
We'll see. We'll try and see what happens. Anyone have any final words? Do you think this was a strong decade of movies? I do personally.
I think Tim does. Yeah.
I do. What about you guys?
I don't know what to say. Like if you go to the previous decade, I don't know what to say either. So.
Oh, it's true.
Informative answer from Phil.
Yep, that's me.
That's true.
I think the decade was
this decade was dominated by MCU. I think, like it was
MCU and A24. It's all about
it seems like that.
I think I would say in this decade, it's always a learning curve in terms of always expanding your interests, always expanding your palette of movies, and finding out what movies are more intriguing than movies you might have liked in the past.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of the decade probably for me. And also, like I said, I was the only guy who spiced it up with documentaries.
It's true. It's true.
Hey, I put some documentaries.
Paprika.
Actually,
Paprika in there.
Where are your
I did. Well, Waking
Waking
Sleeping
Sleeping
Beauty,
Beauty is
Death of Superman Lives.
2?
It's true.
I think that's it.
2. Yeah.
Anyway,
2.
so documentaries, check them out.
Watch Side by Side.
Watch Side by Side. Yeah, go Tim, watch that. It's great.
I will.
And interesting times we live in. That's the same.
The next decade will be in our 30s, so let's see if we'll be absolutely destroyed by life and not be excited about
I will
movies.
see you will be in your 30s, but I will partially be in my 30s.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your 3 years of 2 years or how many you have of this 20th. 20s.
It'll be weird next time doing this, and then I'll be 40. I'll be like, hey guys, I'm 40 now.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
well,
that's enough.
Thank you for
I think the
listening.
music is playing. Yeah, thank you for listening to the special.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I hope so.
We'll be resuming the regular episodes.
The regular schmegula.
Right after this. Philip just Jacob sent me a picture of me naked in Minecraft. That's beautiful.
I hoped you would have seen it while we were recording. But now
it's
as a
too
gift,
late.
as a gift.
But that's a great gift.
The music's going up, guys.
All right.
We're done.
And since I only got 3 movies, I'm just going to run quickly as the music is playing through all the movies that I didn't get to say. So thank you, goodbye, and here's the list. The Wolfman, Inception, Machete, Let Me In, Jackass 3D, The King's Speech, Black Swan, True Grit, Attack of the Block, Sucker Punch, Hannah, Bridesmaids, The Artist, Crazy Stupid Love, Fright Night, Moneyball, 21 Jump Street, Fury, Safety Not Guaranteed, The Master.
Wow, dude, you have a lot of movies that were like B list.
Let's see, Zero Theorem, Dallas Buyers Club, American Hustle, Wolf of Wall Street, Her, that was a hard one, Chef, oh, I love that movie, Godzilla, It Follows, 22 Jump Street, Snowpiercer, Guardians of the Galaxy, Gone Girl, Inherent Vice, that was a good movie, Big Hero 6, I like that a lot, Ex Machina, amazing movie, Tangerine, The Lobster, Inside Out, Youth, Spotlight, amazing movie. Crimson Peak, interesting. Youth, The Hateful Eight, The Revenant, Hail Caesar, Florence Jenkins, The Nice Guys, The Neon Demon, Lights Out, It, Doctor Strange, Manchester by the Sea, The Big Sick, Logan, Kong Skull Island, Colossal, It Comes at Night, Spider-Man, Homecoming, Wind River, A Good Time. Then we have Call Me. Oh no, we did the one. Phantom Thread, Game Night, Isle of Dogs, Hereditary, 8th Grade, First Man, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. That's a good movie. Black